Good morning. Welcome to RSBN Live. I'm Matthew Alvarez. It's day 28 of that good old Democrat Schumer shutdown. And in a few minutes, we'll take you to Capitol Hill there, where the press conference will take place, the 28th in a row for the GOP leadership. Hopefully there's not a 29th. Maybe today the day will be where this government gets back open. All of this while the president is taking care of business globally, of course, hosting peace deals and making trade deals for our country. First, it was in Malaysia, now Japan, and tonight, Eastern time, he'll head to South Korea. I believe he'll be heading back Thursday or Friday, still meeting with a lot of officials, a lot of heads of state, and a lot to accomplish. Right now, the local time in Tokyo is 13 hours ahead of East Coast time, and we have a number of videos from overnight to go to right after the GOP leadership press conference. So right now, it is 10:49 at night in Tokyo, as it's 9:49 this morning here on the East Coast. Thanks again for joining us. It's a lot of coverage today, including the president delivering a speech on the USS George Washington based in Tokyo. So get the Top Gun soundtracks ready, because this was what I saw so far, quite an awesome moment there for the president. But outside of great moments, we always are looking for the achievements, the accomplishments, and all of that. And we're seeing that for this overseas trip. We're seeing a lot of wins in this country. And we're seeing those indictments for those that tried to subvert the will of the American people in 2020 come through. So, you know, we're seeing it all happen, and we're monitoring the latest, and we'll bring everything that we see to you here live, including this GOP press conference. All right, so a few stories we're tracking today stateside. We're 7 days from Election Day, November 4th, of course. We're watching closely the New Jersey and Virginia gubernatorial races, along with the AG race in Virginia, among others. And of course, the New York City mayoral race. Which direction will the Big Apple go? As Cat Turd said on Truth Social and on X yesterday, the Big Apple is about to turn into the rotten apple. I hope that's not true, for our country's sake. And of course, my family being born in New York City, I used to work in New York, so I get it. We don't want that city to go that far left. I'll even take Andrew Cuomo. Of course, Chris Sliwa would be great too, or Curtis Sliwa. So we'll see what happens there in New York City. Again, after the GOP leadership meeting, we'll take you to Tokyo for a number of events that occurred overnight East Coast time. In the meantime, we'll have a live interview coming up in just a bit, and we'll have, again, probably like yesterday, 5 to 7 videos from overnight East Coast time that we'll be replaying here for you. Most of you may have not seen it because you weren't awake around 3, 4 in the morning when the president was speaking, but that's why it's great to be here at Right Side, where we have all of that from the pool coverage recorded and ready to go for you in just a bit. Again, that'll be right after the GOP press conference. In the meantime, we see out there in Chicago, Portland, Memphis, D.C., these are just a few cities that the people, the residents are saying, we want safe streets. We want the National Guard to be there to assist local law enforcement. The only people saying no to that, interestingly enough, are the people that are supposed to be representing the people, right? So the Brandon Johnsons, J.B. Pritzkers of the world, Mayor Bass, Gavin Newsom. Let's go with New York with Schumer and AOC and Hakeem Jeffries. Remember, he's out of Brooklyn. My mom was born in Brooklyn, and this guy and these people are trying to really bring in destruction to New York, but not only to that, to the whole country. They love destruction. They love everything that's anti the Constitution of the United States of America. So that's why we have elections. That's why we see President Trump and the team working behind the scenes on securing the election. They're going to be talking about that, I'm sure, in the coming weeks, because that was one of the promises out of the 20 core promises to the American people. So looking forward to all of that here shortly. In the meantime, it's 8:52 a.m., and we are looking forward to a live interview with the representative out of Virginia. Representative Riley Moore also was endorsed by President Trump back in the campaign. So we'll go to that interview here shortly. In the meantime, again, we'll be going to this day 28 press conference for the Schumer shutdown. And in a few minutes, we'll take you to Capitol Hill, where the GOP leadership will hold yet another good old press conference for this terrible shutdown that's happening because of Chuck Schumer and the Democrats. All right, let's go now to Virginia Representative Riley Moore, who joins us live on Capitol Hill there. Sir, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thanks so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Definitely. First of all, back in the day, what was it like being endorsed by the leader of the free world, President Trump?
Oh, a moment I will never forget. He's, ever since he first came down the golden escalator, I've been a huge supporter of President Trump. Getting that endorsement here early in this election cycle, just meant the world to me. He called me on the phone. Now I've had the great privilege of meeting with him now many times, but called me on the phone and let me know that he was going to go ahead and endorse me early in this election cycle. And it was huge. He sends out, the Truth Social, and kind of a neat thing when he does that endorsement, and he endorsed me in the last election also. But this one, he'll put out the Truth Social and then he'll sign it and he'll send it to you via mail. So I have that hanging in my office. Truly a real honor.
Yeah, it's great because, the people of the country, as you know, for the past 3 elections, were saying we want him in office, the majority of the country. And so you being indirectly an offshoot of the president, you're obviously on the right side of history. Your thoughts about this Schumer shutdown that's happening in Washington?
Well, we've been pretty clear about this, and I'm on the House Appropriations Committee, so I'm obviously caught in the middle of all of this. The whole point of this, just to backtrack, because sometimes people forget the Democrats are trying to cloud the whole history of this and why we are where we are. We're trying to just get a short-term CR so we could finish the appropriations process. Under the leadership of Speaker Mike Johnson and Chairman Tom Cole, we've actually passed all 12 bills out of the Appropriations Committee. We had already passed 3 on the House floor, and we had a motion to go to conference, which no one has uttered the word conference as it relates to appropriations in like a decade. So we were actually going to have regular order. We're moving towards regular order, which is what the American people want. No more big omnibus bills. We're actually going to do what we're paid to do here and appropriate the funds for the federal government. So out of nowhere, the Democrats come up with these just insane demands, like $1.5 trillion for healthcare, Medicaid specifically for illegal immigrants. They basically strike the entire healthcare section of the one big beautiful bill, which we had that verification process put back on for Medicaid. They take that off. That's where we get that $1.5 trillion over the 10-year window. They also strike, don't forget this, they strike the section that provides the rural hospital stabilization fund, which is huge for states like mine and many other rural areas throughout the country. So essentially, hardworking Americans are going to lose access to healthcare so illegal immigrants can have healthcare. So these demands are something that we're not going to even entertain. We have passed the clean CR in the House. The Democrats need to do the right thing in the Senate. And now there's a new pressure point that's been put on them, specifically where you have the biggest union for the federal workers in this country has come out and said, pass the clean CR.
It's great to see that they have done that because we know the SNAP benefit situation. There's so many different things. How about just our law enforcement, our troops, the paychecks and all? Again, to your point, and for everyone to understand, the Democrats came to the Republicans with a list of demands that were way on the opposite end of the spectrum of what we, the people, wanted from President Trump and what President Trump's agenda is. So that's why we're in this situation, to your point. Let's shift domestically to the international scene. I saw an interview on Fox the other day, and you were talking about the Christians in Nigeria, the slaughtering of Christians there. And I'm glad that you're on. I'm glad you're speaking about this, because a lot of people on X and Truth are like, why is nobody talking about it? But you are, sir.
Yes, and this is something I've been talking about since I got into Congress. My first floor speech that I gave in April was about the persecution of Christians in Muslim majority nations, and specifically talking about Nigeria and also talking about Syria. But to stay on Nigeria, just so people understand, since 2009, there has been in between 50,000 and estimates of up to 100,000 Christians murdered in Nigeria. It is the most dangerous country in the world for Christians currently. There's 35 Christians being martyred a day in Nigeria. That's 7,000 so far this year. And also this year, we had 35 Christians murdered on Palm Sunday. Ash Wednesday, they kidnapped a priest and murdered that priest as well. There is a genocide going on over there of Christians in Nigeria, and no one is speaking up. And what I want is for us to have some courage and conviction in our faith for these people who are being martyred for that exact same faith, and the brave people in Nigeria.
Great points. And so what do you think can be done? Are you calling on anyone within the federal government? I know you're already in the federal government, but what can be done?
Yes, so I wrote a letter specifically to Secretary Marco Rubio, who has been supportive when he was a senator on this issue, and trying to get his attention and say, we want this country, Nigeria, designated as a country of particular concern. So what does that mean? Why is that important? Well, the United States has security assistance programs with Nigeria. So that's military hardware and equipment provided, and also training. Why were we doing that? The reason was so they could stop these killings that have been going on, specifically to eliminate Boko Haram, who operates in the north. Then you have IS West Africa. But we also have this Fulani tribe that is perpetrating a lot of the murders in the middle band of the country of Nigeria right now. So that designation as a country of particular concern, when you go back to the Trump administration's first term, they had designated Nigeria as a country of particular concern, and the murders had precipitously dropped. The Biden administration took that designation off, claiming that actually the killings were happening because of climate change and disputes over land in that middle band territory. And that's why the Fulani Islamic terrorists were killing people, not because they were Christians, because of climate change. So we are asking for the Trump administration, specifically Secretary Marco Rubio, to put that designation back in place.
And I think everybody would agree on that are watching. Anybody that's in common sense, America, which is a majority of our nation. I believe this is something, again, I saw your interview and I said, well, let's keep that message moving forward, because it's simple. It's a common sense move to save lives in Nigeria. We're seeing that happen in several wars around the world, thanks to President Trump as well, closing wars left and right, it seems. Your thoughts overall now as we shift from Nigeria. Again, we're not going to forget about it. Even though this is an interview and we move on, that's still something that's really heartfelt for us to get that done. And thank you again for that letter to the Secretary. But your overall assessment on the United States of America right now, moving forward, the midterms, and also just the reforms that we need to have locked in 2029 and into the future.
Well, look, I think President Trump has done more in this first 10 months than most do in 8 years. It has been an astounding breakneck pace of success. Also partnered with us here in Congress. Many thought because of our thin majority in the House, we would fail. We have not failed one single time to pass the necessary and what is part of the Trump agenda, the America First agenda. We have passed those pieces of legislation every single time. The One Big Beautiful Bill, the CR, all these other pieces of legislation that are so important to the America First agenda. And you can't undersell this One Big Beautiful Bill that had over $1.3 trillion in cuts, the biggest cuts in American history. But let's not also forget that President Trump is ending wars all over the world. This is the peace and prosperity president, and he's bringing jobs back to the United States. He's reshoring those jobs through tariffs, which I was a huge supporter right out of the gate when I got elected of tariffs. I actually ran on tariffs. And this is something that really hurts my state of West Virginia. It means so dramatically. We've lost so many jobs, particularly in the steel industry, because of countries like China taking advantage of us and dumping their products into this marketplace with no repercussions. President Trump isn't going to have that anymore. So the American...
Welcome to day 28 of the Democrat shutdown. We're almost a month into this, and we wanted to highlight a couple of things and a few members this morning. There are some very important developments. But before we get to all that, one of the things that we wanted to note is that really it's painfully obvious to everyone the true motivation of the Democrats' historic obstruction has now become very clear for everyone. I want to use a little simple, Lily, if you show me this real quick, just real quick, simple facts, because these things get obscured too much. But there are simple facts about the Democrat shutdown that everybody needs to recognize. Here's 4 of them. First of all, we have to have Democrats to reopen the government. You know that in the Senate it requires 60 votes to break an impasse. Wait, hang on, Lily, hold it real here. Keep it close to the podium. I want everybody to see this, okay? We're going to make it simple. I had my 15-year-old son and some of his friends were together over the weekend, and they wanted me to explain it to them as simply as possible. This is the little formulation, okay? Hey, fellas, remember from civics, you got to have 60 votes in the Senate. We only have 53 Republicans, so we must have Democrats to do it. The Democrats are out trying to claim that this is all on Republicans because we control the government. We don't control the Senate without 60 votes, so you have to have them. Now they've voted 13 times, those Senate Democrats, counting the House and the Senate together, they voted 13 times to keep the government closed. And what they're demanding as a ransom to reopen the government are some really crazy things. They want to restore $200 billion in health benefits paid for by U.S. taxpayers to illegal aliens and non-citizens. We can't do that. They want billions of dollars in wasteful programs to be returned to foreign countries for things that none of you would agree with. We're not going to do that. They want $500 million to go back to left-leaning news organizations paid for by taxpayers. We can't do that. And then they want to cut $50 billion from the Rural Hospital Fund that Republicans got signed into law July 4th to prop up health care in red states and rural areas around the country. It's too important, but they want to take that away. They know that we can't do it. And now that they've begun to admit what this is all about, thanks, Lee, put on the thing there. They're admitting what they're up to. Chuck Schumer said every day of the shutdown gets better for us, meaning the Democrat Party. And you know, we had the second-ranked Democrat in the House, the minority whip, who just said a few days ago, the end of last week, that we know that this is causing great pain for the American people, but we have to use this leverage. We don't have many times where we have leverage like this. And so they've shown you what the real motivation is. But ultimately, why are they doing all that? Let me summarize this really quickly, as simply as I can, for the civic students back home. Republicans are not demanding anything, literally nothing. All we want is to reopen the government. The Democrats are demanding all those things I just showed you on the chart, plus a lot more. When I say they want to send money to foreign countries, this is some of the things that they would propose that we spend money on again. They're demanding, this is a ransom to reopen the government. Things like $4 million for global LGBTQI plus awareness campaigns around the world. $4 million for the LGBTQI plus democracy grants in the Balkans. They want $2 million for feminist democratic principles projects in Africa. We're not doing that. But again, the question is why? Why? This sounds crazy. It is. Why would they do this? And what we saw on vivid display over the weekend was the re-emphasis of this fact. This is motivated purely out of fear. And what do we mean by that? You saw the Democratic leader in the House, Hakeem Jeffries, endorse Zohran Mamdani for mayor of New York City on Friday. It was an illustration of what we're facing here. The Democrats right now fear the far-left activists more than they fear air traffic controllers, Border Patrol agents, American service members, and so many others missing their paychecks. They fear the Marxist insurgents like Mamdani more than they fear families and children going hungry from lapsed benefits that keep food on their tables. They simply fear losing their own political positions next November. if they don't appease the angry far-left base right now. And they will appease that base at any cost, no matter how much pain's inflicted. In fact, they've said in their own words, this gets better for us day by day. How does it get better? Because they're proving to the angry far-left base in their party that they will prioritize them over the American people. And simply put, it's the profound fear in the Democratic Party that drives this shutdown. It is not principle, it is not policy, it is certainly not concern for the constituents that they say that they want to represent. We know that because even their own constituents now are begging Democrats to stop the political games and reopen the government. Just yesterday, the largest union of federal workers, the very people that the Democrats claim that they fight for, came out publicly and urged the Democrats to join the Republicans in passing the House's very simple short-term funding bill. Also, yesterday, the National Air Traffic Controllers Association began to put up flyers in airports to explain the real danger that is being imposed for air travel, air safety in this country, highlighting what the Democrats are doing. So I just want to say this simply to our Democrat colleagues. You have an off-ramp now. You painted yourself into a corner, but here's your off-ramp. The unions, the largest unions, are saying, please do this. You can claim that as cover and say that you had to do it. Reopen the government. Get it working for the people. It's our #1 priority and responsibility as members of Congress. But Senate Democrats have refused to do it for almost a month now. I've said it over and over, Republicans have done our job. We passed the clean short-term funding extension to keep the lights on and pay all these workers and our troops and fund programs like SNAP and WIC that Americans need and rely on. And in the meantime, Republicans have been working very hard around the clock every day of this Democrat shutdown to do our best to reduce the pain for our constituents. In our districts, we've got a video running over here just showing some highlights of what all the House Republicans are doing and have been doing for the last few weeks. Out in their districts, they're trying to help Americans navigate the crisis that the Democrats have created with their selfish political decisions. Here's a few more examples this morning we wanted to highlight. In Montana, Congressman Troy Downing, these are all Republicans doing work back home. He's met directly with his TSA officers and air traffic controllers who continue to show up to work while Democrats keep the government closed. In New York, Congresswoman Nicole Maliotakis has been working around the clock, hand in hand, for example, with her local national park officials to organize community cleanups and maintain our public lands, doing the work Democrats left behind as park rangers and visitors' staff remain furloughed under their shutdown. In Sullivan County, Indiana, and down in South Texas, you have Congressman Mark Messmer and Brian Babin. They've strategized with rural hospital leaders to ensure that these communities are able to access that $50 billion rural hospital fund, by the way, that the Democrats want to defund. It's the very funds that the Democrats worked hard to kill in their counterproposal to reopen the government. In South Carolina, Congresswoman Sherry Biggs has been meeting with her small business owners who continue to serve their communities, many of whom are already feeling the benefits from Republicans' work to deliver no tax on tips. We did that in the big, beautiful bill, the Working Families Tax Cut. It's a wildly popular measure that, by the way, every Democrat voted against. In Oregon, Congressman Cliff Bentz is meeting with his air traffic officials as they wait on Democrats to reopen the government and deliver the federal funds they need to expand that region's critical air travel infrastructure. And here in Washington, the work has gone on in earnest as well. People keep commenting to me, you look so tired on TV. I am so tired because we're not sleeping a lot. We're working overtime. Here in Washington, our House committees have continued to conference together and do all the work we can to ensure legislation is ready for the floor for action as soon as we get back to legislative session. The House also continues to carry out its essential oversight duties. And you'll be reporting on this all day, but the Oversight Chairman James Comer released a blockbuster report now on the Biden auto pen presidency. And this report includes 47 hours worth of transcripts and testimony revealing that every executive action signed by the auto pen without written authorization from President Biden should be voided. This is an unprecedented situation in American politics and government. The actions of President Biden simply were not all his own actions, and there are major implications to that, including all the pardons that he signed. but don't get me started. Okay, on Friday, the Energy and Commerce Chairman, Brett Guthrie, these are all Republican actions, he launched a bipartisan investigation into the NBA's handling of betting and illegal gambling allegations following the recent shocking reports that raised questions and integrity concerns. And as we covered last week, the House Oversight Committee also delivered its third batch of files from the Epstein investigation, now totaling 43,000 pages and documents, pieces of evidence, including personal flight logs, financial ledgers, daily calendars, and diaries of Epstein himself. Republicans are here in Washington, and we're out in our district, fanned out across the country, doing good work on behalf of the people we serve and represent. And what are the Democrats doing? You've seen it. They're posting TikTok videos. They're bragging about using the American people's pain as their political leverage. And House Republicans are taking this day by day, just like the rest of the country. We have our House Republicans on a 48-hour return notice so they can get back, understanding that some flights may well be delayed. But to get everybody back here as soon as possible, as soon as the Democrats decide to do the right thing and reopen the government, we will get back to immediate and urgent and necessary business on the House floor itself. We're anxious to get back to that, but we cannot have a regular legislative session until the Democrats do their most basic responsibility to reopen the government and get this moving again. So today we're fortunate to be joined by several of our good friends and colleagues here, all members of the Republican Study Committee, and the chairman of that committee, the largest caucus of conservatives in Congress, is Representative August Pfluger from Texas, and we're glad to have him as well. He's going to share a little bit about the reckless decision of the Democrats and what that means for military readiness and families all across this country. We are so grateful for these great members and their leadership. August will reference who's here, and then we'll take some questions. So, Chairman Pfluger.
Thank you, Speaker.
Sure.
Speaker, you're doing a great job, and I think we all know that today's Democrat Party is not the party of JFK, who once famously said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." Instead, today, Democrats under Schumer and Clark and Mandami are saying, "Ask not what you can do for your country, but who you can leverage for your radical agenda." Ask not what you can do for your country, but who you can leverage for your radical agenda. I'm August Pfluger. I'm chairman of the Republican Study Committee. We have some great members, including Burgess Owens, Stephanie Bice, Harriet Hageman, and Craig Goldman, who are with me. And, you know, it's really sad to think about what Catherine Clark said last week. She said, of course, there will be families that are going to suffer, but this is one of the few leverage times we have. My colleagues stand for families. The Republican Party stands for families because we believe, we know that our greatest asset in this country is the American family, that our country rests on the shoulders of families, that the Republican Party will always advocate for families, that we will look up for families, that we will legislate to prosper families. And instead, the family is only a point of leverage for our Democrat colleagues. How sad is that? You know, I'm thinking about military families right now. I'm thinking about that soldier who is deployed around the globe to keep our country safe, to push back against a threat. And I'm thinking about that phone call that soldier probably received this year, this month, in the last couple of days, asking whether or not they're going to get a paycheck, talking about the new baby at home, trying to figure out if they're going to be able to pay their rent or even buy some groceries or put gas in the car. I was there. I'm a veteran. I've been serving on active duty when shutdowns happened. This is a very stressful time for military families. And commanders right now, instead of being focused on the mission, instead of being focused on the threat, instead of being focused on the training and the exercises that keep our readiness and our lethality at the highest possible levels, now they're focusing all of their attention on making sure that their families of their subordinates, their soldiers and their airmen, their Marines, their sailors, are taken care of, that they actually have the resources. And we have members of the Republican Party who are in our communities right now convening groups of community leaders in banks, food banks, and other resources, because Schumer has chosen not to pay them, now communities are having to take up with 0% interest bridge loans. Now communities are having to defer those mortgage payments and those car payments. So where the Democrat Party is failing, our communities are succeeding because they know that the right thing to do is to fund and help in this time of need. You know, the enemy has not shut down. Our enemies around the world want us to be divided. I'm calling on my colleagues on the other side of the aisle who served in the military to do the right thing. We were there. We were there when Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi put CRs on the floor, and guess what? We did the right thing. Multiple times we did the right thing. Where are my Democrat colleagues who served in uniform to stand up and rise above petty politics to do the right thing? Have you not gone home to your districts to hear from your military communities, from your federal workers? Have you not listened to your local communities telling you to stop the nonsense? No. You know what? They're not there. They're in New York City campaigning for Mondami. Maybe they've orchestrated this so that they had the time to go campaign for an outright socialist. Maybe this was orchestrated so they could go do that. Now, this isn't the party of JFK anymore. This is the party of Schumer and Mondami, the party that bows to the radical left. I hope that everybody can see the split screen of what's happening in this country. The Speaker has so eloquently talked about the fact that Republicans are doing our job to take care of families, that over 13 times the Senate Republicans have voted to fund our military, to fund TSA, to make sure our Border Patrol can get paid and all federal workers can get paid. And Democrats continue to obstruct. I hope you can see the dichotomy between the two sides here. And I'm calling on Democrat members, especially those who served in the military, to do the right thing and to stop the nonsense. With that, I hand it over to my good friend, our leader, Mr. Steve Scalise.
Thank you, Chairman Pfluger. Thank you for your service to our country, especially to all those men and women who are currently serving our nation, whether it be in the military, federal employees that are still working, showing up on their job, but because of Chuck Schumer and Democrats who have bowed to the socialist radicals in their party, those federal workers are not getting paid. We've talked up here for weeks now about some of those hardships, how it's going to affect people, and ultimately now how it is affecting people. Those impacts are now being felt. It's not hypothetical anymore. It's not some memo from a department laying out what might happen. We're starting to hear those stories. You can see, and our conference chair, Lisa McClain, has done a really good job of compiling a lot of the work that's being done by many of our colleagues. One of the reasons we're not meeting in session is because the Democrats shut down the government, but also because of that shutdown, our members are now busy in their districts mopping up a lot of the mess created by those Democrats because of the shutdown, the hardships it's created on families. And those are real hardships, and I applaud my colleagues who are in their districts trying to figure out ways to help people during this difficult time, working with food banks to get food to people who are missing SNAP benefits, WIC payments, military members who are not getting paid, but they're overseas, as Chairman Pfluger talked about. While their family's still here, those babies still have needs, and yet the paycheck's not coming in. Those bills are still due. And Democrats think this is some kind of game. Speakers talked about this over and over again, but what has their reaction been? Not figuring out a solution to get out of it, an off-ramp. It's doing stupid TikTok videos, making fun of this situation, thinking that the American people are leverage in their game to get some kind of unachievable goal, $1.5 trillion in new spending, $200 billion in taxpayer benefits for illegals, gutting $50 billion out of a health care fund for rural hospitals, And again, they try to claim it's about something else. Maybe it's about health care. Well, if it was about health care, they wouldn't be gutting $50 billion out of the rural health care fund. They wouldn't have fought, by the way, on the Senate floor months ago to remove a provision, the cost-sharing ratios, that would have lowered premiums on families by 11%. It was in our bill. We voted for it, passed out of the House. Democrats are still to this day bragging that they removed that provision from the bill that would have lowered premiums, health insurance premiums on families by 11%. And they want to talk about health care? Give me a break. Look at what they've done. They've wrecked the health care system. They fought to raise premiums on families. Democrats have over and over again, and now they're imposing real pain on American families with this shutdown. We've got some new numbers that have come in, and these are not good numbers, unfortunately. Reuters reported more than 2,700 flight delayed nationwide on Monday, and more than 8,600 flight delays just Sunday. 8,600 flight delays. Think of how many families were impacted. Every flight, well over 100 people on each one of those 8,600 flights that were delayed, all because Chuck Schumer and radical Democrats want to use American people as leverage. A Democrat aide said they won't concede short of, quote, planes falling out of the sky. Who are these people? Didn't they once care about this great nation and making it better? And now they think if a plane falls out of the sky, that's their leverage? For what? Goodness. Chuck Schumer, quote, every day gets better for us. Who is us? Because I can tell you who them are. The American people are sick and tired of Chuck Schumer and his friends thinking it's a better day for him when they are feeling more pain. Senator Coons, quote, the point of this shutdown is not just suffering for suffering's sake, but to make a point, as if suffering of the American people is not enough. We've heard, of course, over and over again, Catherine Clark, shutdowns are terrible. Of course, there will be families that are going to suffer, but it is one of the few leverage times we have. They keep saying over and over again, they know American people are suffering. They don't care. They want leverage for themselves. They want to show off to their radical socialist base. Bernie, of course, Bernie Sanders, who was on the stage with AOC over with Mandami the other day with their socialist love fest. Bernie, quote, you reopen the government and we lose our leverage. That's what this whole shutdown is about. They're telling you what they mean. Democrat source in the Hill article last week that we talked about, quote, we would have enough votes to reopen the government if people were not terrified of getting the guillotine. This is Democrats being afraid of their own base because their base is so radical that they're afraid of their base. The American Federation of Government Employees, we talked about this yesterday, came out and said, quote, it's time to pass a clean continuing resolution and end this shutdown today. No half measures and no gamesmanship. Rep. Amelia Sykes said, quote, we know that people are going to suffer if we don't open the government. People will go hungry. Well, she knows it. She's causing that hunger, but let's put a point on this. In an ABC article regarding the 42 million Americans that are going to lose SNAP benefits next week, Joel Berg, who's the CEO of the nonprofit Hunger Free America, said this, quote, we are going to see the greatest hunger crisis since the Great Depression. And that's not hyperbole, that's just true. The greatest hunger crisis since the Great Depression, when 42 million people lose their SNAP benefits this weekend. What are these Democrats waiting for? This is not a game. This is not leverage. They're taking food off the table for families, for babies. It's disgusting. It's time to end the madness. They can go on the Senate floor today. Just 5 of them need to get courage. Just 5 of them need to get the courage to do the right thing and open the government today and end this pain and end the suffering that they've caused. Then we can go negotiate our differences. Yield to the whip. Tom Emmer.
As has been mentioned, yesterday, the largest federal workers union in the country, they represent 820,000 federal workers, released a statement calling on Democrats to stop playing political games, pass our clean CR, and reopen the government. What was Chuck Schumer's response? Silence. Crickets. He declined to comment. Meanwhile, millions of federal workers are reevaluating how to make ends meet. Air traffic controllers missed their first full paycheck today. Some are turning to food banks, as we've discussed, in order to feed their families. Here is what one Democrat and retired federal worker had to say about the current state of play. Quote, "The Democrats are the ones that actually, in the Senate side, shut down the government. So they have to get together and stop holding Americans hostage. We're about to have people without food, and that's ridiculous. It's not worth it." Remember, that's coming from a Democrat and retired federal worker. Since Chuck Schumer and company won't listen to us, maybe they'll start listening to members of their own party. Enough is enough. You're playing politics with people's lives. And as Leader Scalise and the Speaker have reminded us, for what? So that you can appease the radical pro-terrorist wing of your party, so that you can fundraise off of picking a fight with President Trump. It's not worth it. In fact, it's despicable and downright wrong. There's a nonpartisan government funding bill waiting in the Senate to be sent to President Trump's desk immediately. It will come to the floor for a vote for the 13th time this morning. Put an end to the madness. Do the right and reasonable thing that you did back in March, by the way, and vote yes on our clean CR. Instead of complaining about a new White House ballroom, how about you try doing your actual job and reopen the government for the people you were elected to serve? Our conference chair.
Thank you and good morning, everyone. And I first want to extend a thank you to the RSC chair and the members of the RSC who are here today. And thank you for all the work that you've been doing in the district. I know we appreciate it, and more importantly, I know your constituents appreciate it. I know I've been standing at this podium with Speaker Johnson and House leadership for weeks now. And every time we have said the same thing. Republicans voted to keep the government open. Democrats voted to shut it down. Period. It is that simple. This week, more than any other week, the consequences become impossible to ignore. As of yesterday, more than 10,000 flights have been delayed because of staffing shortages. By the end of this week, nearly 2 million paychecks will be missed by Americans. And by Saturday, 42 million Americans will lose their SNAP benefits. Let that sink in. 42 million Americans will lose their SNAP benefits this Saturday because Democrats want to use them as leverage. This is real pain, real fear, and real consequences. And Democrats are using that as political leverage. And leverage for what? Ask them this. Leverage for what? To force through illegal benefits for illegal immigrants to the tune of $1.5 trillion? They'd rather do that and put 42 million Americans at risk of losing their SNAP benefits. That's what they're choosing. That's what they're choosing. Let that sink in for a minute. This isn't leadership. This is cruel and disgusting, and it's cruelty disguised as politics. Even the president of the largest federal workers union, and I don't know if you noticed that, but he doesn't exactly always cheer for Republicans, but this gentleman is actually begging the Democrats to do the right thing and end the shutdown. While Democrats posture in front of the cameras, Republicans are actually out in their districts working. Just take a look at the video that we've been playing all morning, right? Don't let the facts get in the way of the good story. Republicans, like the colleagues you see behind me, have been in their district working for the American people who are suffering from this Democratic Schumer-led shutdown. You will see Republicans volunteering at food banks, Republicans supporting rural hospitals, Republicans cleaning up national parks, and Republicans helping people in real ways. Republicans believe in solutions, not stunts. We believe in serving the American people, not using them. So while Democrats try to turn American hardship into political currency, Republicans are working to reopen the government, to restore paychecks, and bring stability back to American families. Because this isn't about leverage, it's about people. And we are here to serve. It's about time the Democrats remember who they serve. Thank you.
All right, questions? Go ahead first. Go ahead.
Earlier this week, President Trump floated running for president again in 2028. Are you comfortable with those comments? And you're a constitutional lawyer. Would that violate?
Well, there is the 22nd Amendment. I spoke with the president about an hour ago. It's late in the evening in Japan. He's working around the clock, serving the American people. He doesn't stop. Talk about someone who works around the clock. And as Chairman Pfluger mentioned a moment ago, and as we've reiterated in here so many times, you're looking at the split screen because under President Trump, the Republican Party has delivered. I mean, you're talking about reducing taxes, reducing regulations, cutting fraud, waste, and abuse, ended the border crisis, ending the crime crisis, resolving conflicts, wars around the globe, and working on these amazing trade agreements. It's been a great run. But I think the president knows, and he and I have talked about the constrictions of the Constitution, as much as so many of the American people lament that. The Trump 2028 cap is one of the most popular that's ever been produced, and he has a good time with that, trolling the Democrats, whose hair is on fire about the very prospect. But I do believe that we've got 3 extraordinary years ahead of us, and the 2 years of the Trump administration are going to be an incredible thing. And I don't see a way to amend the Constitution because it takes about 10 years to do that, as you all know, to allow all the states to ratify what 2/3 of the House and 3/4 of the states would approve. So I don't see the path for that, but I can tell you that we are not going to take our foot off the gas pedal. We're going to deliver for the American people, and we've got a great run ahead of us. We'll have 4 strong years. Yeah, second round. Yeah.
The White House was able to find funding for the military, for WIC, for farmers. Should the White House now be able to find some funding for the SNAP program if they've done it for all these other ones?
They certainly tried. I mean, one of the reasons that this shutdown has not yet been as painful as it might otherwise have been is because the president is bent over backwards, the administration. Think of it this way. The White House, the executive branch in a shutdown, has a large control panel full of dials. Under the Obama administration, they turned those dials, the pain dials, to 10 immediately. You remember it was so egregious to us. Speaking of our veterans, I mean, they put yellow crime tape around the World War II memorial so that people who would serve their country could not go visit the memorial. They wanted it to hurt. The Democrats have shown, and they've said in their own words, this is leverage. It gets better for them every day. They don't mind inflicting pain on the American people if they can somehow get some sort of political points out of it. The Republican Party is the opposite. And President Trump has proven that. Every day of this shutdown, he has tried to move funds around to find unobligated funds to cover the bases, to get the troops paid in the middle of October, and to make sure that WIC funding is not resolved. You know how he's getting women, infants, and children funding done? They did some very creative legal research I've quite admired. They found a statute in the 1930s that they could use to say that some of the tariff revenue could be used to cover nutrition because so much of that was transported over the border. So they've done some creative, amazing things to mitigate, to lessen the pain as much as possible. We've been out all over the country, all these Republicans. I mean, Craig Goldman flew in here to do this press conference with us, but he's been in Texas serving his constituents. Stephanie Bice been in Oklahoma. Harriet Hageman's been out west. You got Burgess Owens out in Utah. They've been serving their constituents, and August Pfluger, but they came in to help us articulate what's going on. All that effort has mitigated the pain, but we're running out of the resources. We want to fund SNAP, but they did the legal research, and they could not find a 1930s-era statute to bootstrap that one. The contingency fund was approved by Congress, and when the Democrats voted against the CR, they voted against the ability of us to use that money. And so 42 million people are going to suffer because they're playing political games. There's nothing, the White House has run out of it. They have all the pain dials turned back to just a 0 or a 1 as best they can. But when you're out of resources, they go all the way up. And it's out of their hands. It's out of our hands. And that's why we're so frustrated. You don't see the happy warrior Steve Scalise pound the podium very often. But we're angry about this. We're frustrated. We should be, because it's wrong for the people. And all of you should be angry about it as well. And I know many of you are. Yeah, Ray.
What's your reaction to yesterday's purge of senior ICE officials from field offices around the country? Are you worried that that's going to result in less experienced leadership at ICE? And again, when is it time for Congress to do some oversight?
I don't know any of the details of that yet. I just heard about that literally. I was walking in, so I'm not going to comment on it until I find out the details. I know some of these things get misportrayed. Yeah, back row. Yeah.
On the auto pen investigation and the Oversight Committee's report that was released this morning, some Senate Republicans have suggested that perhaps there isn't a legal avenue to void the pardons that were signed by by the auto pen, these executive authorities. Do you think that there is a legal avenue? That's what the investigation concluded, that any of those executive actions that were signed by the auto pen and the Biden administration should be void. Do you think that's possible?
Nothing this incredible and insane has happened before. This was not something that the forefathers anticipated. It's unprecedented. There is no legal precedent because no previous president had an auto pen or had the audacity to have people signing things on their behalf when they didn't even know what was in it. And so we're in uncharted waters as a nation. As we say up here all the time, we're so tired of making history. I just want normal times, normal Congress again. But the Biden administration was unprecedented in so many ways, and the president was checked out of his job for quite some time, and everybody knows it. And there was a cover-up. The people around him who were they would give him scripts to follow. They would point him literally in the direction, stand here, sir, wave like this. And he didn't know what he was signing. So there's all sorts of just incredible implications. It sounds like a terrible novel or something, but this is reality. And so the pardons, for example, he pardoned categories of violent criminals and turned them loose on the streets. And he didn't even know what the categories were, apparently, much less the individual people that he pardoned. They're invalid on their face. I mean, I used to be a constitutional law litigator. I would love to take this case and go into the courts and make that law to set the precedent. You can't allow a president to check out and have unelected, unaccountable, faceless people making massive decisions for the country. Think of the executive orders that were signed with the auto pen. When he paused LNG exports, liquefied natural gas, to our European allies around the world, I confronted him about it, by the way, the one meeting they allowed me to have with him as Speaker in the Oval. And he looked at me as if it hadn't happened, and he said, I didn't do that. And it occurred to me, he wasn't lying. He honestly didn't know. Do you know what the implications of pausing LNG exports were around the world? It made all of our European allies had to buy their natural gas from Vladimir Putin, which fueled his war machine, to go, conduct his war on Ukraine. It destabilized our energy sector, and it had us step back 3 or 4 steps of energy dominance around the world. Thankfully, we're back now because we have a commander-in-chief who's fully in command and understands the necessity, energy policy being national security policy. I could go on and on and on in every category. Huge implications. What does it mean for us? How do you unwind it? I don't know. But it will be determined in the courts ultimately. And these are unprecedented cases of first impression, as we say, because it's never been tested before. But man, is it dangerous stuff. Front row. Because you win the boot game today. Go ahead.
I'm curious, you guys, a lot of people are talking about the government unions demanding the Democrats reopen the government at this point. Do you think that is building off President Trump's gains with labor unions for the 2024 election? Do you think that this is a sign of a different relationship between House and Senate Republicans and federal government employees? Do you welcome these people in your tent?
Of course.
Thinks that these are not traditional allies of yours in a lot of.
President Trump and the Republican Party achieved some very important historic things in the last election cycle. We had a true demographic shift in the election. We had a record number of Hispanic and Latino voters, for example, who came into the Republican Party, record number of African-American black voters, Jewish voters, union workers, young people, demographics that had not traditionally in recent years been with the Republican Party in large numbers. And they came to us not reluctantly, but with hopeful anticipation. Why? Because they wanted a return to common sense. And they saw what the other party had done to them with their terrible policies and their terrible ideas and the radical, woke, Marxist, progressive agenda, and they realized it didn't work for them. So they came to us and they said, can you do better? Well, we did. We have. And we passed the one big beautiful bill, the Working Families Tax Cut, and all of our legislation and everything the president's done with executive orders, fulfilling his promises, are codifying those things and doing the rest of our legislative agenda, which is being held up right now because of this. We're delivering for those people. So it is not a surprise to me that union workers would come enthusiastically supporting common sense. What we're asking for here is common sense. They're supporting the party. They're supporting the president because they know who's working for the American people and who is not, who is causing and inflicting pain on the American people. The contrast has never been more clear. We say all the time, this is not your father's Democratic Party. I grew up in Louisiana. When I was a kid, I didn't even know a Republican. Literally, like everybody was Democrat. And, you know, the Southern Democrats, you know, conservative Democrats down in Louisiana. That party doesn't exist anymore. My grandfather would not recognize what this party has become. He would clearly, they'd all be Republicans because the Republicans stand on the side of common sense and working families, hardworking, middle class, lower class earners in the country. We drafted the Working Families Tax Cut to be geared for them, to help them. And we infused the legislation with all this pro-growth policies so that all boats will rise. People see that. They see the effects. Ideas have consequences, my friends. And the policies and ideas that are advanced by the Republican Party are right for America because they comport with our founding principles, and we stand on those principles to defend them. And by contrast, on the other side of the screen, they're going for communism and Marxism. Take your choice. Jake. We voted September 19th to fund every one of those priorities. And every Democrat in the House except one voted to not fund them. The Democrats are playing games. They put a few of the one-off bills on the floor, as you've seen in the last week or so. They put a bill to pay the troops and pay essential workers, and the Democrats voted it down. So it would be a futile legislative effort for us to do this again repetitively in the House and send it over there so Chuck Schumer and the gang can play games and spike it. It's a waste of our time. They need to vote for the clean, continuing, nonpartisan CR, turn the lights back on and get the country working again, and then we can resolve all the rest of the issues that were always on the calendar for the remainder of the year. I want to thank our Republican Study Committee colleagues for being here and standing in the gap for your constituents. All the Republicans out there, they're still at work. They're not even watching these press conferences because they're working for their constituents. Thanks for that. Appreciate it.
Watching live there on Capitol Hill, of course, as we saw now day 28 of the GOP leadership press conference. Can you believe it? It's now day 28. Looks like it's going to be day 29 as well tomorrow. So hopefully the Schumer shutdown will stop and our government will open. We have a lot of coverage to get to. I mean, a lot from Japan. It's 13 hours ahead of East Coast time, of course. So right now it's 11:46 at night on Tuesday, October 28th, but we have a lot of video, including President Trump's speech from the USS George Washington. Get that Top Gun playlist ready because it's pretty awesome. I saw a couple images from overseas. It looks pretty awesome. So looking forward to airing all of that. Before we do, let's go to some of our great sponsors here at Right Side, including All Family Pharmacy. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and this is a time when many families are searching for clarity, for hope, and for options worth learning about. More people today are exploring repurposed medications like mebendazole for its potential cancer support and ongoing research. All Family Pharmacy believes you deserve access and the freedom to explore what may feel right for you and your loved ones. So they make the process simple. A licensed doctor reviews every order to ensure it's appropriate and your medication is shipped directly to your door. So for this final week of October, they're offering 40% off mebendazole, and this offer ends October 31st. The discount is automatically applied at checkout, so there's no code needed. allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN to learn more, of course. That's allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. You can order before October 31st. And as always, this is not medical advice. Please consult with a licensed physician to determine what's best for your care. Great sponsor there, allfamilypharmacy.com. Also, monetary gold. For years, the signs, unfortunately, have been clear, but most of us, I guess, ignored them because now the storm beneath the dollar is impossible to miss. Gold has broken through $4,000 an ounce. Silver past $50, and it isn't luck, it's logic. When governments spend beyond their means and every crisis is met with another trillion printed out of thin air, the value of your money must fall. History proves it, and every time a currency weakens, gold and silver rise to reveal the truth. These metals don't depend on promises. They don't vanish when confidence collapses. They endure. So that's why the world's strongest institutions are moving into physical gold quietly but decisively. Now is your moment to do the same, of course, and you can call that number there on the screen, 888-617-7994, or go to rsbnforthegold.com. Take what you've built, make it real, before the next headline reminds you that paper wealth is just that, paper. Let's go to Kalshi.com for our third sponsor right now, Kalshi.com/RSBN. A lot to bet and trade on, of course, out there. A lot of things just to check out the polls. There's a ton of topics. You can check them out if you'd like, Kalshi.com/RSBN. You can download the RSBN or the Kalshi app as well. So a lot of great information there with Kalshi, a great sponsor, more than 1 million users, of course, and that number is growing as it's now 10:49, Tuesday, October 28th. Earlier, we interviewed the West Virginia Congressman Raleigh Moore on the Democrat shutdown, the Schumer shutdown. We talked about Nigeria with the fact of the many thousands of Christians being slaughtered there and what needs to be done. So he's actually sent a letter to the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, to list this nation, Nigeria, as a nation of concern, which will actually help with a number of things there. We'll get to some of that interview in just a bit. There's a soundbite I'd like to replay for you if you're just joining us now. Also, as soon as I hear word, we'll have the videos ready to go, and we'll toss to those in Japan. All right. We do have one of them. It's the bilateral meeting with the Japanese Prime Minister and President Trump from within the 24/7 news cycle. Let's take a look.
開始が遅れまして失礼いたしました。今トランプ大統領の部屋で野球を見ておりました。1対0でドジャースが勝ってます。
So to the press corps, I'm very sorry that we kept waiting. As a matter of fact, Mr. President and I myself just enjoyed watching the Major League Baseball match. Actually, Dodgers versus Blue Jays, and Dodgers is now having a 1-point lead, and we really enjoyed the match.
まずトランプ大統領の訪日を改めて歓迎申し上げます。電話でも申し上げましたけれども、自民党総裁選挙に勝った直後にお祝いの発信をいただきありがとうございました。直接お会いできることを楽しみにしておりました。
So President Trump, let me extend a very warm welcome upon your visit to Japan. As I convey to you over the phone, I thank you for your congratulatory message to me right after my party LDP's presidential election. And I have been very much looking forward to seeing you in person here in Japan.
で、安倍総理に対するもう長きにわたる友情に感謝をしております。また昨年末に安倍昭恵夫人を歓待いただいたことにも感謝を申し上げます。
First of all, thank you for your enduring friendship with Prime Minister Abe over the years. In addition, thank you for extending gracious hospitality to Mrs. Akie Abe at the end of last year.
実は安倍総理からはよくトランプ大統領のダイナミックな外交について話を聞いていました。タイとカンボジアの停戦に成功し、トランプ大統領はまずアジアの平和に貢献をされました。それから先般の中東における合意の実現もですね、これはかつてない歴史的偉業です。
As a matter of fact, Prime Minister Abe often told me about your dynamic diplomacy. Most recently, Mr. President succeeded in securing a ceasefire deal between Thailand and Cambodia and contributed to ensuring peace in Asia. Also, the deal you have recently achieved in the Middle East is an unprecedented historic achievement.
これだけの短期間に世界はより平和になりました。でこの世界の平和と安定のトランプ大統領の揺るぎないコミットを高く評価します。で私自身も強い感銘を受けました。
In such a short period of time, the world started to enjoy more peace on the ground. And in this context, I highly value your unwavering commitment towards peace and stability. I, myself, was so impressed and inspired by you, Mr. President.
今や、日米は世界で最も偉大な同盟になりました。で日本も共に、世界の平和と繁栄に貢献をしてまいります。
Now both Japan and the United States have developed the greatest alliance in the world. And together with you, Japan is ready to contribute towards peace and stability.
私は日本の国益を守り抜くためにも強い日本外交を取り戻す決意です。そして自由で開かれたインド太平洋の進展に向けても日米でさらに協力を進めたいと考えています。
On diplomacy, I am determined to restore dynamic Japan's diplomacy to protect Japan's own national interest. In addition, I am ready to promote further collaboration with you and with the United States toward our shared goal of achieving a free and open Indo-Pacific.
私はこれから日本の国力、つまり外交力、防衛力、経済力、技術力、情報力、人材力を強くするリーダーとして働いてまいる決意です。
So let me share with you my determination. I will continue to strive as the leader of Japan to strengthen Japan's national power, namely diplomacy, defense capabilities, economic power, technology, intelligence, and human resources.
来年は、米国建国250周年、ですよね。で共に、日本も共に盛大にお祝いをしたいと思っております。ワシントン DC に250本の桜を、寄付する予定です。それからまた来年7月4日にはワシントン DC で日本の秋田県の花火が打ち上げられると聞いております。
Next year, the United States will mark the semi-quincentennial anniversary. Japan and I would like to join the United States to have a magnificent celebration. We'll extend a gift of 250 cherry trees to Washington, D.C. In addition, I understand that fireworks from Japan, from Akita Prefecture, will be shown in Washington, D.C. on July 4th next year.
日本とアメリカを、より強く豊かにするために、日米同盟の新たな黄金時代をトランプ大統領とともに作り上げていきたいと願っております。ありがとう。
Through these efforts, together with you, Mr. President, I would like to realize a new golden age of Japan-US alliance where both Japan and the United States will become stronger and also more prosperous. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you very much, and I want to congratulate you. As you know, Shinzo Abe was a great friend of mine, and I was very saddened to see what happened. It was so shocking, but he spoke so well of you, even before we knew what was going to happen and your ascension. He spoke so well of you long before we met, and I'm not surprised to see that you are now the Prime Minister. And he would be very happy to know that, and I congratulate you on behalf of the United States of America.
総理ありがとうございます。まずご着任の、に対して祝したいと思います。晋三は私にとって非常に素晴らしい友人でありました。本当に、彼が亡くなったことはショッキングであり悲しい出来事でありました。また、安倍晋三氏からはかなり総理のことをよく話されておられました。ですのでお会いする前から総理になるということを私が知る前から素晴らしい話をよく聞いております。ですので晋三氏もかなり喜んでいらっしゃると思いますし、米側を代表して私の方からも祝したいと思います。
I know that you are increasing your military capacity very substantially, and We've received your orders for a very large amount of new military equipment, and you know that we make the best military equipment in the world, the jets, the missiles, and everything else, and hopefully we don't have to use them very much, if at all. But we appreciate that order, and we very much appreciate the trade. We're going to do tremendous trade together, I think more than ever before. We're just signing a new deal, and it's a very fair deal, and we look forward to welcoming Japan into the United States in a continuation. And it's something that everybody is very, very excited about.
また、日本の方も、かなり自衛隊や防衛費に関して増加をされるということで聞いております。このほか米国から装備品の調達をされるということで、もちろん米国はベストな戦闘機、ミサイル等を持っております。もちろん使いたくはないのですけれども、このような調達に関しても感謝申し上げたいと思います。貿易に関してもこれから増えていくことかと思います。また貿易協定の署名式もこれからなされる予定であります。非常に公平なこの協定になっていると思っておりますので、これからもこのような関係を継続していきながら非常にエキサイティングな時代になっていくと思います。
I have always had a great love of Japan and a great respect of Japan. And I will say that this will be a relationship that will be stronger than ever before, and I look forward to working with you. And on behalf of our country, I want to just let you know, anytime you have any question, any doubt, anything you want, any favors you need, anything I can do to help Japan, we will be there. We are an ally at the strongest level, and it's a great honor to be with you, especially so early in what will be, I think, one of the greatest prime ministers. I think you will be one of the great, everything I know from Shinzo and others, you will be one of the great prime ministers. I'd also like to congratulate you on being the first woman prime minister. That's a big deal. That's a big deal, and I want to congratulate you on that. I think that has to be called out. And you're going to do a fantastic job, and we're going to have a fantastic relationship. Thank you very much.
私は日本を愛してますし、非常に日本という国を尊敬しております。私たちの関係はこれから今まで以上に強力なものになっていくと思います。またお伝えしたいことは何らかの質問もしくは疑問、何か私たちでできることがあれば何なりと言っていただきたいと思います。日本は私たちにとって最も重要な同盟国であり、また総理にこのような早い段階でお会いできることを光栄に思っております。また、安倍晋三氏も言っておりましたけれども、非常に素晴らしい話を聞いております。ですので、高市総理はこれから目を馳せる総理になっていくと私は確信しております。また初めての女性総理ということで、これは非常にビッグディールだと私も思っておりますので、大きな期待を持っております。
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, so we have a lot of more footage to get to here as it's 11:01 Eastern Time. Thanks so much for joining us here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. I'm Matthew Alvarez. It is RSBN Live, and again, tons of footage to get to in just a minute. But before we do, let's go to a few of our great sponsors here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Angel Paste out of Spring, Texas. All you have to do is go to angelpaste.com, use that RSBN promo code to get quite the percentage off. A lot of great gifts there, too. So angelpaste.com. They are military veterans, and it's wonderful to have them as a sponsor. Also, Cove Pure. If you remember that water crisis in Flint, Michigan, well, man, I'll tell you, all the pipes that are out there, a lot of them really old, and they put through a lot of water that is, filled with all sorts of things like pharmaceuticals and toxins and bleh. And, at the end of the day, what we're looking for is something like Cove Pure to filter out about 99.9% of all of the junk that's in tap water. And it makes the water taste better, it's healthier, and on top of that, you can have that cold, warm, and hot temperature button there to press. So covepure.com/RSBN. Get $200 off for a limited time. So a great sponsor there, covepure.com, with a fabulous work of art right there to definitely make your water better tasting and much better for you on the health side. Let's also go to Perplexity. When you're looking at Comet here, this is great because with an AI web browser, it's more than just getting answers. They can actually work for you. They can give you all sorts of scheduling and all types of things for you there with Comet. As we know that specifically, you'll get an entire Rumble Premium for free 1 month if you just sign up with Comet right there. We're going to talk a lot more about these sponsors in just a minute. Why don't we do this? It's 11:02. Let's go directly to one of our videos out of Japan of a signing that happened pretty recently.
We will now promote the document signing ceremony between the leaders of Japan and the United States. 署名者は高市早苗日本国内閣総理大臣とドナルド・ジェ・トランプアメリカ合衆国大統領です。The signatories are Her Excellency Ms. 高市早苗 Prime Minister of Japan and the Honorable Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. デリゲーションの方はお座りください。The members of the delegation are kindly please. まず最初の文書でございますけれども、合意の実施、日米同盟の新たな黄金時代に向けての署名です。First document is implementation of the agreements towards a new golden age for the Japan-US alliance. 続きまして、文書、採掘加工を通じた重要鉱物及びレアアースの供給確保のための日米間枠組みへの署名です。Next document is United States-Japan Framework for securing the supply of critical minerals and rare earths through mining and processing. 署名式を終了いたします。両親の他退出いたします。This concludes the signing ceremony. The two leaders are leaving for the room to proceed the next venue. Mr. President, all the delegation members kindly requested to proceed to the next phase with the leader.
Mr. President, you successfully convinced Europe to spend 5% on defense. Should Japan do the same?
We kindly ask that all members of the press to allow the leaders to proceed to.
First, it was in Malaysia, now Japan, and tonight, Eastern Time, the president will head to South Korea. Right now, the local time in Tokyo is 13 hours ahead of East Coast time, and we have a number of videos to get to from overnight East Coast time. But before we do, a few stories that we're tracking with today stateside. We're 7 days away from Election Day, November 4th. We're watching closely the New Jersey and Virginia gubernatorial races, along with the AG race in Virginia. And of course, the New York City mayoral race. Which direction will the Big Apple go? As Cat Turd said yesterday on Truth Social and on X, he said the Big Apple is about to turn into the Rotten Apple. I hope that's not true, as my family's from New York. You know, I used to work there, and it's just awful to see what's already happening now in New York because of the amount of crime. But just imagine having a communist mayor there. It'd be awful, as you guys know. Earlier in the broadcast, West Virginia Representative Riley Moore joined the show. We'll go to that in a little bit, talking about the atrocities that are happening in Nigeria. Before we get back to Asia, we will go to a number of sponsors. So let's go to All Family Pharmacy right now. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and this is a time when many families are searching for clarity, for hope, and for options worth learning about. More people today are exploring repurposed medications like mebendazole for its potential cancer support and ongoing research. All Family Pharmacy believes you deserve access and the freedom to explore what may feel right for you and for your loved ones. They make the process simple. A licensed doctor reviews every order to ensure it's appropriate, and your medication is shipped directly to your door. For this final week of October, they're actually offering 40% off mebendazole, as you see on your screen there. This offer ends October 31st, and the discount is actually automatically applied at checkout, so there's no code needed. allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN to learn more. Again, that's allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. You can order before October 31st. And as always, it's not medical advice, so consult with a licensed physician to determine what's best for your care. Let's also go to Brightcore right now. As we know, there's been a special offer out there, and as you know, there's a war happening right now, and it's probably not where you think. It's in your gut, a battle between good and bad bacteria that determines your health and overall quality of life. Kimchi is a traditional Korean food used for over 2,000 years for its remarkable health benefits. Kimchi 1 from Brightcore Nutrition is the fermented superfood your body needs to arm the good guys with the right weapons to defeat the bad actors once and for all. All health starts in the gut, so putting the right fermented superfood in your gut improves every aspect of your health, your heart, your brain, and even the quality of your skin and the growth of your hair. Containing over 900 strains of beneficial bacteria in each capsule, Kimchi 1 supports healthy digestion, fortifies your immune system, and helps detoxify your body. And kimchi has also been shown to reduce risk of obesity and promote smaller waistlines by curbing appetite and naturally boosting your metabolism. Say that 3 times fast. Kimchi 1 is an all-natural, non-GMO, dairy-free, gluten-free, and 100% made in the USA. So there you go. You got the number right there. The website as well. Great sponsor, Brightcore, here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Let's go from Washington, D.C. all the way over to Japan as we continue our coverage from overseas.
We are with the Prime Minister and her strong feeling, a tremendous feeling. And as you know, I've been here before. With some of the people I've met before. And it continues onward. They've been looking for so many years, so long. But when I see these beautiful faces, they're so beautiful. Look at the beautiful faces, every one of them. I see a note from me even. It's very nice. But I've met the families before, and I'm with them all the way, and the U.S. is with them all the way, and we're with Japan and the Prime Minister.
Mr. President, do you think you'll be able to talk with Kim Jong-un about the elections?
Say it?
Do you think you'll be able to talk with Kim Jong-un about the elections?
We'll see what's going on. We're going to see what's going on. We have not done anything. We've been so busy, we really haven't. But we'll be discussing it. We always have this in mind because it started with Shinzo Abe, and now the Prime Minister is going to be a great Prime Minister, by the way. And it's my honor to be with you again, and we will do everything within our power. Thank you all very much. We appreciate it very much. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Thank you all very much. Beautiful, so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Who wrote that? That's very nice. I remember all of these beautiful faces. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. We continue to work with your Prime Minister. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, very much.
So the president so graciously meeting with families of North Korean abductees, you know, with those photos there in those frames. And, you know, we know that this president is on the right side of history. Thank God we have President Trump in office and not Kamala Harris. It's just simple as that. It's not much more to say. We're going to go to President Trump's speech on the USS George Washington that happened at about, I think it was 2:45 Eastern time in the morning. So obviously we'll air that on replay here in just a second. But let's go to a couple of our sponsors before we do. Again, thank you so much for joining us here on RSBN Live as it's 11:15 Tuesday, October 28th. Let's go to Chapter real quick. For a number of people in our audience, it's Medicare annual enrollment time. If you're 64 or older, you know what that means. Nonstop robocalls, junk mail, and spam texts from people trying to sell you something. The truth is Medicare is confusing on purpose, and who benefits? Big insurance companies do, and every year they quietly change their plans. Some plans they even drop completely. This leaves millions of Americans stuck on plans that cost too much or cover too little. So even if you like your current plan, you've got to look at 2026 options. That's where Chapter comes in. Chapter doesn't work for the big insurance companies or the government. They're independent. They're the only advisors who compare every Medicare plan nationwide to find the one that fits your needs and preferences. And they make things quick and easy. It takes under 20 minutes to review your options. If your plan's still the best for you in 2026, great, you're done. If not, they'll help you switch. On average, people who work with Chapter get to save $1,100 a year. And the best part, their help is free. Don't let the system take advantage of you. Call 833-438-3359 and let Chapter make your Medicare work for you as it's 11:17. Tuesday, October 28th. Let's talk about MyPillow.com. A lot of great products there, of course, more than 2,000. And they're quality products. I mean, if you have a few at the house, maybe you want to upgrade a few of them as well. Or maybe get some early Christmas gifts. Very early. It's still October, right? mypillow.com/RSBN, a great sponsor here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. Also, speaking of RSBN, if you'd like to donate to the network, all you have to do is text RSBN to 801-801 or go to rsbnetwork.com/donate. Thanks so much for donating to the network. You really, literally have kept the lights on, but also our sponsors help us do that as well as we continue to expand here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. Let's now go to Japan, where the USS George Washington, the aircraft carrier, President Trump delivered an amazing speech overnight. Let's take a look at it right now.
I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA. There's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the
What a group. All champions. USA. And a very special hello to the greatest sailors anywhere in the seas, the incredible men and women of the United States Navy. Very special people. Thank you very much. It's a great honor. Great honor to be here. But I'm thrilled to be here among thousands of proud American patriots aboard the 100,000 tons. That's a lot of tonnage. Forward deployed symbol of American might, power, and prestige, the legendary USS George Washington. This is some ship. They don't make them this way anymore, but we're not supposed to say that, but they really don't. This is great stuff. This is really an incredible. Lot of tonnage. Forward deployed symbol of American might, power, and prestige, the legendary USS George Washington. This is some ship. They don't make them this way anymore, but we're not supposed to say that, but they really don't. This is great stuff. This is really an incredible GW, they call it GW, right? And we've come this afternoon to celebrate the strength and the skill and service of everyone on this ship. So we're going to all relax. We're going to have a good time. We're not going anywhere, you know. If you go back to Washington, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. But I want to just tell you that you are special people, and we're going to have a little fun. And I'm going to tell you how great our country is and how well we're doing, because a year and a half ago, we had a different country than we do right now. Now we're the most respected country in the world. We're the hottest country anywhere in the world. And it hasn't taken too long, but I had no doubt. I just didn't know we were going to do it this fast. We've done it fast because of people like you. So I want to thank you very much. And I want to recognize a man that you all know well, and he's a tough cookie. He was formerly our Secretary of Defense, but now he is proudly known as our Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. And, you know, I don't say this. He gave up a hell of a job. They were going to pay him millions of dollars. They didn't want him to leave. That crazy fox, they didn't want him to leave. But he wanted, you know, every time I'd go on that show, all he wanted to talk about is the military. And I said, you know, if I ever do this, I'm going to bring this guy along with me. He knew more about it than anybody. He didn't want to be doing the other stuff. And he had a chance. He could have made so much money, he wouldn't have known. He didn't want that. This is what you wanted, Pete. He's so happy now. Those drug ships aren't coming in anymore. We can't find a ship. There's no ships coming in with drugs, you know. It's like he's been incredible. So thank you very much, Pete. You gave up a lot. We appreciate it. Thank you. And unlike past administrations, we will not be politically correct. You don't mind that, do you? When it comes to defending the United States, we're no longer politically correct. We're going to defend our country any way we have to, and that's usually not the politically correct way. From now on, if we're in a war, we're going to win the war. We're going to win it like nobody ever before. You know, we'd go in, we'd blast the hell out of countries. Shouldn't have gone in. By the way, if you don't go in, that's even better. We don't have to go in, peace through strength. But, you know, we'd go in, we'd win, and then we'd leave. They used to say, to the victor belong the spoils. Well, we'd be the victor, then we'd leave, because we had people that didn't know what the hell they were doing. But we're also very honored to be joined by hundreds of our incredible Japanese partners, and they are incredible. Thank you very much. This woman, that's right. This woman is a winner. So, you know, we've become very close friends all of a sudden because their stock market today and our stock market today hit an all-time high. That means we're doing something right. But the cherished alliance between the United States and Japan is one of the most remarkable relationships in the entire world. Really, there's never been anything like it. Born out of the ashes of a terrible war, our bond has grown over 8 decades into the beautiful friendship that we have. It's a foundation of peace and security in the Pacific. You see it? So on behalf of all American sailors stationed in this beautiful country, let's hear it for our allies and the Japanese self-defense forces and all of the Japanese people that we love and respect. And I have such respect for Japan and the country. And now I have a really great respect for the new and incredible Prime Minister. And I have to say this, the first female Prime Minister in the history of Japan. Madam Prime Minister, please say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you all. 通訳。本日、米国の海軍創設250周年という記念すべき節目に、トランプ大統領とともに地域の自由と平和を守る象徴である空母ジョージ・ワシントンで挨拶するチャンスをいただいたこと、心から光栄に思います。
This year marks the U.S. Navy's semi-quincentennial anniversary. As we celebrate the important milestone, I'm truly honored to have this opportunity to deliver remarks with President Trump aboard the aircraft carrier USS George Washington, a symbol of protecting freedom and peace in this region.
でまず何よりも日夜、
我が国と地域の平和と安全のために尽力してくださっている自衛隊員、そして在日米軍の、軍隊の皆さん、軍人の皆様に心から敬意と感謝を捧げます。
First and foremost, I would like to express my deep respect and sincere gratitude to all the men and women in uniform from Japan's Self-Defense Forces and the U.S. Forces Japan for your dedication and commitment to safeguard peace and security of our nation and the region day and night.
6年前に、ありがとう、Thank you. 6年前、この横須賀の地で、トランプ大統領と、亡くなった安倍晋三、総理が、日米が共に手を取り合って、この地域の平和と安全を確保していくという決意を示しました。
6 years ago, at this same place here in Yokosuka City, the late Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and President Trump stood side by side and demonstrated their resolve that Japan and the United States would join hands to ensure peace and security in this region.
今ここに再び日米の最高指揮官が並び立ったこの機会に、私はその決意を引き継ぎ、インド太平洋を自由で開かれたものとし、そして地域の平和と繁栄の礎とする決意を新たにしました。
Now, as the two commanders-in-chief of Japan and the United States stand together once again, I have renewed my determination to carry forward that resolve and to make the Indo-Pacific free and open so that it will serve as the foundation of peace and prosperity for the entire region.
今、我々はかつてないほど厳しい安全保障環境に直面しています。平和は言葉だけではなく、確固たる決意と行動によってこそ守られます。
Now we are facing an unprecedented severe security environment. Peace cannot be preserved by words alone. It can be protected only when there is an unwavering determination and action.
あちらに見える最上とマヤを含む自衛官とこのジョージ・ワシントンは数多くの訓練を重ねてきました。でまた横須賀にいる多くの、補給整備に携わっている、日米関係者の皆様、そして地域社会との絆が、米国海軍の活動を長年にわたって支えてきました。こうした幾層にもわたる日米の協力が日米の抑止力、対処力を確かなものとしております。
From where we stand, we can see Maritime Self-Defense Forces Mogami and Maya, vessels of Japan's Maritime Self-Defense Force and USS George Washington have conducted numerous joint exercises. Just as importantly, there are so many Japanese and American personnel working for logistics and maintenance here in Yokosuka. And there's also a strong sense of bond with the local community here. Those are what have been supporting the activities of U.S. Navy over the years. There's no doubt that such multi-layered Japan-U.S. cooperation is what makes it possible for us to ensure the credibility of our two nations' deterrence and response capabilities.
私は決意しています。今後、日本の防衛力を抜本的に強化して、この地域の平和と安定により一層積極的に貢献していきます。
So let me reiterate my unwavering determination here. Japan is committed to fundamentally reinforce its defense capabilities, and Japan is ready to contribute even more proactively to peace and stability of the region.
そのことにより、トランプ大統領とともに世界で最も偉大な同盟になった日米同盟をさらなる高みに引き上げてまいります。
Through these efforts, together with President Trump, I am determined to elevate the Japan-U.S. alliance which has already become the greatest alliance in the world, to even greater heights.
日米は共に帆を掲げ、自由で開かれた海を進みます。この横須賀から紡がれるコードは、日米の絆を輝く未来へと導くことを確信しています。
Japan and the United States will advance together with our sails raised high across a free and open sea. And I am very confident that the sea route from Yokosuka will make our bond even stronger and bring our two nations on the path to a shining future.
Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you very much. And we will have a long, good relationship, and we'll have fun doing it. You know, you have to have fun, although sometimes it's never fun. She's tough to negotiate with, I want to tell you. But I'm delighted to report that I've just approved the first batch of missiles. You saw a couple of them coming down with me. I hugged them. We need them. They're the best in the world. Nobody has them like we have them. They all want our missiles. That's the problem. Everybody wants them. But it's the first batch of missiles to be delivered to the Japanese self-defense forces for Japan's F-35s. And they're coming this week, so they're ahead of schedule. So I just want to tell Madam Prime Minister, they've been waiting for those missiles, and we got them here right away as soon as I heard about it. I want to thank former Senator, a great gentleman, by the way. He was so popular, but I took him out, and I made him Secretary of State. I think he was born for it. Marco Rubio, thank you very much, Marco. Where are you, Marco? Great guy. Great job. He was born for it. Ambassador George Glass, thank you very much, George. Good job you're doing. Thank you. And many of our outstanding uniform leaders with us today, including the head of the Indo-Pacific Command, Admiral Samuel Paparo. Where is Samuel? Oh, hello. Good, but these are good-looking people. Could make a movie with these guys. They're like Central Cat. Look at this group of people. Commander of the U.S. Forces, Japan, General Stephen Jost. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you very much. The commander of the 7th... Oh, that's a big deal. I think, do you want to switch jobs for 1 week? Only for 1 week, all right. 7th Fleet, big stuff. Vice Admiral Fred Kacher. Fred, thank you very much. That's great. And the commander of Carrier Strike Group 5, Rear Admiral Eric Pappy Andoze. Hello, Pappy. That's great. Good. Thank you very much. And of course, we can't forget about your command triad aboard the George Washington. There's nothing like this one. This is a beauty. And I hear your commanding officer is a big Alabama football fan. You know, I love Alabama. I love Alabama. Captain Timothy Waits, and let me just say, roll tide. You know, I love Alabama. Roll tide. Where's Timothy? Where's Timothy? That was a hell of a game this week. I don't know how the hell you pulled that one out. That was, if you didn't win, I wouldn't have mentioned it. I would have just introduced you. I wouldn't have. But you came back from oblivion. Isn't it nice coming back? You know, coming back is good. Thanks as well to your XO, Captain Patrick Blind. Patrick, where is he, Patrick? Patrick, thank you. Highly respected person. All of these people are the best. Look at them. I mean, you look at them. They could have any job they wanted. They could walk down to Wall Street, make a fortune. They wouldn't do that. They like what they're doing, and nobody does it better, as well as really one of the most important people on the ship. Have you ever heard of Command Master Chief Tony Roberts? Have you ever heard of him? Wherever you are. Where's Tony? Thank you. Thank you, Tony. He's a popular guy. And as many of you know, this month we're celebrating a truly momentous anniversary. 250 years of courage and pride, honor and victory by the United States Navy. 250 years, can you imagine? And 3 weeks ago, Melania and I flew to Naval Station Norfolk. I think many of you probably know that, and witnessed an unforgettable display of pure American dominance at sea. It was incredible to watch. They gave us some. Then I said, slow it down, costs a lot of money. Let's save it. You know, let's relax a little bit. They gave us some great display from the thunderous roar of the guided missile destroyers. Never saw anything like it, to the spectacular sight of nuclear submarines all over the place, to the unstoppable force of another great American aircraft carrier. One thing was clear, that no enemy will ever even dream of threatening America's Navy. There's no Navy even close, not even close. You hear about some of them doing ships, but nobody can do what we do. Nobody has what we have. And we also have the best equipment that rides along in those ships. You see that nobody makes equipment like we do. Nobody makes the ammunition, the weapons, the missiles, the planes, none of it. And if they do, the American sailor stands ready to crush them and sink them and wreck them and blast them into oblivion, right? We have to. And that's a terrible statement for me to make. That's the end of it, because everybody said that I should immediately get the Nobel Peace Award. With that statement, that takes me out of the running, but that's the way. That's the way it is. The United States is blessed with the strongest and most powerful military in the history of the world. There's no military like our military, not even close. Nobody has our weapons, and it'll be stronger and more powerful than ever before very soon. You know, we just approved the biggest budget in the history, over $1 trillion. Over $1 trillion. We have the best ships, the best airplanes, the best submarines, the best technology. But above all, we have America's military. It's the best people. It's all about the people, ultimately. You have to work all of that fancy stuff that we make better than anybody else. The fact is, we do make the best weapons, but if you don't have the right people to operate those weapons, they don't mean much. Despite that, as Commander-in-Chief, I never forget that our ultimate strength does not come from equipment. It comes from the men and women of the rank and file. That's true. It comes from you people, incredible people, good-looking people, too many good-looking people. I don't like good-looking people. I never liked good-looking people, I'll be honest with you. I've never admitted that before. But see, I'm allowed to, you know, we won in the Supreme Court a thing based on merit. You know about that, right? Merit. Everything now in our country is based on merit, and that's why I look at you and I see nothing but merit. It's great to have a country back where we can go by merit now. We don't go by anything else except for talent and work and hard work, and it's such a big win. That was such one of the most important wins, and the will, patriotism, and spirit in your hearts is our single greatest weapon. The strength that you have is unbelievable. That's why, as we make a record investment in our military, we've never spent so much, and we've never spent it more wisely, because now we watch it. We spend it properly. I'm also supporting an across-the-board pay raise for every sailor and service member in the United States Armed Forces. Now, if you don't want it, you want to give back to your country, just let us know. We won't give it to you. Is there anybody in that category? Huh? But now, all we really have to do is get the Democrats to approve it. But they'll come along. They always do, you know, they always do. And because I heard that the sailors on the George Washington took a hit to your family separation pay, you know what I'm talking about, right? You took a little hit to be here, right? By returning to the port, you returned early for this event. I am delighted to announce that as your sort of boss, I don't feel like your boss, but I guess I am. At least you'll be happy about this one. At my direction, we're going to make sure that you receive the full amount that you were owed for the deployment. And we're not going to deduct anything because you came in to listen to your commander. I'd like to be an admiral. I always wanted to be an admiral, to be honest. Don't tell the other people that I love so much. You know, they sit around the table, they have all those beautiful stars and stripes, but I'll tell you what I love. I will always love the admirals. I love those uniforms. And I look at these guys. I don't think I would have done very well if I had to compete with these people. They're too good. But I always felt that the Navy is a very special group of people. And I see it when I see you. I see it over the past 11 months. The spirit of our military has been soaring like never before. You know that. The spirit of our country has been soaring. After years of recruiting shortages, and we had bad ones. It was embarrassing, frankly. During my campaign, before the election, November 5th, after that, it all changed. After we won, it all changed. And now we have waiting lists with record numbers trying to join the U.S. Navy and all of the armed forces. We have literal waiting lists, and I'm pleased to report that 2025 was the Navy's single best recruiting year in many generations. That's pretty good, isn't it? But, you know, think of it. It seems like I've been up here so long, and it seems like I've been doing this for a long time and a half. We had a great first term, but nothing like what's happening now. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. I rebuilt the military in the first term, and then they gave a lot of it away to Afghanistan. But it was really just a tiny speck, but it was the concept of what it was. But we rebuilt the military, and we did so many things in the first term, but we're blowing it away right now. But think of it, just 1 year ago, I was in the middle of a campaign. Can you believe that? It doesn't feel that way. I said, you know, you're right. It's not November 5th yet. We have another week or so to go. I was campaigning 1 year ago. And look at all the things that we've done since this unbelievable day, November 5th. That's when it all changed. When we won on November 5th, it all changed. And we went from a country that wasn't respected and a lot of people that had no spirit. That includes joining the police, the fire departments. They didn't want to join. After that, they started joining, and it seems like 10 years ago, not less than a year. Think of it, less than a year ago, I was campaigning. You know, we won the second election by a lot, so we had to just prove it by winning the third by too big to rig, I called it. It was too big to rig. And it was an amazing victory. And thank goodness we won, because we were in big trouble. We were in big trouble. But the new recruits, every sailor aboard this ship has answered a sacred call of duty to cross any ocean, fight any battle, and defend America and its allies with unwavering resolve. As you know, the George Washington is the only aircraft carrier on Earth that is permanently stationed overseas. It's permanent. Now, if you'd like to take a trip back to America, let's do it one time. Well, I'll join you. I'd love to join you. You know, when I landed on this, it doesn't feel like a ship. It's solid. This is a solid piece of stuff. These 4.5 acres of power and steel are the front line of American freedom in the Pacific. Every day you're taking risks to keep our country safe and to defend peace and security in this incredible part of the world, working with Japan, working with other nations. I just left Malaysia. We stopped a big war with, you know that, we stopped 8 wars. Can you imagine? In 8 months, I stopped 8 wars. Like, I stopped a war a month. Think of that. That's pretty good. But I just left Malaysia. Thank them, because they helped us very much with one of them, and actually for even a second, they're great people, and they send their regards. I spent a day there with the Prime Minister, and we had a good time. But you carry out your mission bravely, you carry it out brilliantly, and on behalf of all Americans, I just want to say, and I came over to say it loud and clear, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Incredible people. You are incredible people. They actually have the best location, because if they're really good looking, they end up in Hollywood. You know, you're not going to, you have a great look, but you're not going to end in Hollywood. They can just see the back of your head, all the media. Look at all the fake news back there. But 2 years ago, Naval Air Crewman 3rd Class James McCall was just a few months into his first fleet tour with the Golden Falcons helicopter squadron. when he and his crew were called on a search and rescue mission to find 3 missing Navy divers. Incredible, brave guys, the divers. But they were stranded at sea and right off the Japanese coast. They were exhausted and assuming they were going to die. They assumed they were going to die. But with unbelievable focus and skill, crewman McCall was able to find and help rescue all 3 divers in the water below, saving his fellow sailors. And James is with us today as a shipmate on this carrier. Crewman McCall, thank you very much for your incredible bravery, and we salute you. Where is James? Where are you, James? Whoa. Come up, James. Get up here, James. Come up here. Look at this guy. He's a good-looking guy. Get out of here, James. I don't want you up here. No, come here, James.
Nice to meet you.
Want to say something? Come on.
I just want to say I appreciate all my fellow shipmates. What I did back then in Iwakuni, it was heartbreaking for losing those loved ones down there, but we brought some back whenever we went down there. And just God bless America and all my fellow shipmates. Appreciate it. And stay a bad Larry.
I was wondering, maybe he almost stayed up. He could have been up here for a while. You did that very well. He's going to be running for office next week. You watch. Great job, James. A lot of bravery, too. But as James' story reminds us, the Navy is a family and a team, and each of you has a vital role to play. Gathered here this afternoon are some of those whose toil and sweat gets our magnificent planes in the air and brings them safely back home. And we have the shooters and the gear dogs and the paddles and the white shirts and, of course, the blue shirts, the yellow shirts, the red shirts on the flight deck. And all over the hangar bay, I want to thank you all. You're incredible people. I saw some of you we're rushing to get down here, and they want to take pictures up there, you know. They're very aggressive people. Sir, could I have a picture? They're supposed to be standing at attention. Sir, could I have a picture, sir? Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, right? Very aggressive. But I think they're great. We also have a real genius and these people are incredible, who maintain the largest and most complex machine ever built, are amazing mechanics and engineers on the And I asked your captain, you know, I'm building aircraft, I'm building a lot of things, but I said, Captain, you got to tell me something. I know a lot about these ships. I know a lot about these things building. I want to know catapults. Which is better, the electric or the steam? Okay, ready? You guys, that's what you do, right? This is so much better. You know, they go out, hire a consultant for millions of dollars that was never on an aircraft carrier before. So they switched to electric. I disagree with it, but it's all right. Let me ask you. We're going to go steam first and then electric. Catapults. Which is better? Electric or steam? I'm going to put it in order. Seriously. They're spending billions of dollars to build stupid electric. And the problem, when it breaks, you have to send up to MIT, get the most brilliant people in the world, fly them out. It's ridiculous. The steam, they said they can fix it with a hammer and a blowtorch. And it works just as well, if not better. And I love the sight of that beautiful steam pouring off that deck. With the electric, you don't have that. So, you know, we did the Ford in electric, the cost overruns, everything else. But, you know, I hope it's going to be okay. But I like steam. We're going to go back to steam. They changed just for the sake of changing. I said to the architect, have you ever designed a ship before? You know, he only did the biggest ship in the world, right? The Ford. But we're going to go back. Okay, now let me ask you the second question. Hydraulic for your elevators or magnets? You know, the new thing is magnets. So instead of using hydraulic, that you can be hit by lightning and it's fine. You take a little glass of water and you drop it on magnets. I don't know what's going to happen. So, you know, the elevators come up in the new carriers I think I'm going to change it, by the way. They have magnets, not every tractor has hydraulic. Every excavator, every excavating machine, any kind has hydraulic. But somebody decided to use magnets for your elevator. Maybe they're good. Which is better, hydraulic or magnets? What the hell is wrong with these people? Can I ask you, the top-ranking gentleman right here, seriously, I'm putting out an order. I'm going to sign an executive order. When we build aircraft carriers, it's steam for the catapults, and it's hydraulic for the elevators. We'll never have a problem, okay? Do you agree? He agrees. Everybody agrees, but these people in Washington. All right. We're going to do that. I'm serious about it. It bothered me so much. I'd see the costs come in. They spend $900. This is not on my watch, so, you know, if it was on my watch, I would be very quiet about it. I wouldn't be talking about it. They spent $993 million on the catapults, trying to get them to work. And they had steam, which works so beautifully, and it has for 50 years, right? So we're going to go back. Seriously, fellas, I want to make that change. I'm going to do an executive order. I'm not going to let them continue to do this stuff. They're trying to make it work. They're trying so hard, and they have something that's perfect. So we're going to go back on that and the magnets. Thank you very much. And, of course, we cannot forget the daredevils and the pilots of the famed Carrier Air Wing 5, known as Team Badman. What the hell is that all about? Who are they? They're bad. The elite air units aboard this vessel are storied squadrons like the Royal Maces, the Diamondback, the Argonauts, the Chippies, the Titans, the Tiger Tails, the Shadowhawks, and the Saberhawks, all great, brave people. They're all incredible. You're all incredible people. Do you know, they say, and I love it, I love aviation. I actually had a brother who was a pilot. And see, Biden used to say he was a pilot. He was a pilot, he was a truck driver, whoever walked in, he wasn't a pilot. He wasn't much of a president either, to be honest with you. That I can tell you. That we all know. But they say the hardest thing to do is landing a plane on an aircraft carrier. You ever hear that? And great pilots can do everything. They're great pilots, but they can't do that. It's a very special talent. So the people that do that are in this room, you're a very small group of people. Tremendously talented pilots cannot do it for a lot of reasons. There are a lot of reasons. A lot of it's right up here. So I have great respect. The hardest thing you can do as a pilot is land. You know that this ship is so big. But when you're up there in the Pacific or the Atlantic and the waves are crashing and it's getting dark, or it is dark, which is even worse, getting dark is better. But when you're up there, they say it looks like a little needle in the ocean. It's just a very little thing, and you're landing on top. So I have great respect when I see them land. You know, 3 weeks ago they were landing and doing it beautifully. They had they're very, very talented people, and nobody embodies skill and nerve and swagger and the attitude like a U.S. naval aviator. So I have great respect for you all. Thank you very much. It's one of the reasons I'm here. That's why I'm here, not someone else. I didn't need this. I didn't need the whole damn job. I could have had I had such a beautiful life. But you know what? We're making America greater than ever before, and that's why I'm doing it. And we are doing numbers that nobody's ever seen, nobody ever even thought possible before. Think of it. A year ago, we were a dead country. We were like a dead country, and now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. There's nobody even close. It's pretty amazing, I'll tell you. None of it would be possible. All of these things that we're doing, all of the respect that we have, it's really because of people like yourself and the armed forces generally. It's amazing the job that you all do. None of it would have been possible. And all of those important missions in the Navy, the devoted members of the Food Service Division serving up to 14,000 meals every single day. How's the food? Good? They say it's good. Is it good? I hope it's good. It's probably my kind of food. I like that kind of food. but they don't get the credit they deserve. I want to just thank them very much and congratulate 14,000 meals. Let's also hear it for all the sailors holding the American flag high at Seafay, as well as the crews from the ferocious Desron 15. Desron 15. But together, the sailors here today give your very best to our nation. And as your commander-in-chief, I'm fighting every single day to ensure that we give you our very best also. We do. We do. We're giving you everything. We're giving you more than anybody's ever given. We're bringing it up to a standard that nobody's ever seen before. We're starting to make ships also. Part of our deal with the trade is we're starting to make ships. We used to be number one at making ships, and then we lost our way. But now we're starting to make ships again, and we'll do it very soon. It's not going to take that long, but it's a process. It's not like making a bullet. It's not like it's a big, long process. We've got it going, though, I think, in the right direction. I think within a short period of time, the Philadelphia yards, as an example, is now owned by a group that's going to be making a lot of ships, a good group of people. And we're going to be working also with Japan on making ships. We're going to make a lot of ships again. We used to think of it, we were number one. And then over the years, they just lost their way. They started making other things. They stopped making ships. So we're going to be making ships again. We've more than, think of this, $17 trillion, trillion with a T, pouring into the United States of America from all over the world. And that's the biggest number in the history of any country. And by the time, and this is in 8 months, really. We're here 9, but this is in 8 months. Over $17 trillion. As an example, the last administration did less than $1 trillion in 4 years. We did more than 17 trillion in 8 months. And I think by the time we finish up our first year, we're going to be over 20 or $21 trillion of money coming into our country. And I want to thank Japan, because Japan is making big investments into the United States, and they're very happy because the stock market's gone up very nicely. We've made Japan a lot of money. That's okay. But they're a big investor in our country, and we like that. But think of those numbers. We weren't doing anywhere near. We were laughed at, and now they're all saying they've never seen anything like what's happened in such a short period of time. And I was just told by the Prime Minister that Toyota is going to be putting auto plants all over the United States to the tune of over $10 billion. So that's Toyota. So go out and buy a Toyota. And that's a lot to do with, because right now we have all the AI plants. We have so many things happening in the United States. And it's because of November 5th, Election Day. But it's also because of tariffs. The tariffs have been so good. We're taking in trillions and trillions of dollars. I heard them before I came up. I heard you're all on television now. They're talking to all the networks. Everybody's covering it. Look at these characters back. Look at all of them. And and they were talking about the tariffs. The tariffs have. Nobody understood tariffs like I understood tariffs, and the tariffs are having people go into our country and spend tremendous numbers like we've never seen, and that brings jobs with it. It brings jobs, it brings importance, it brings everything. It brings a strong military. It brings a lot of things to other countries. I mean, if you look at some of the deals that we did, if India was going to go to war with Pakistan, and as you go to war, we're not going to do any trade. Was going to put big tariffs on both countries, and they said, well, I guess we're not going to go to war. 2 nuclear powers, we stopped it, but we stopped a lot of wars. Tariffs, without tariffs, we wouldn't have national security like we have it. We've never had national security like we have it right now. And literally a year ago, you had very little national security. You had people that didn't have a clue. American strength is roaring back like never before, and with your help, America is respected once more, and it is respected at levels that we haven't seen before. On my first day back in the White House, I deployed the men and women of the United States military to stop the invasion on our southern border, right? It was an invasion, losing hundreds of thousands of people to fentanyl and to drugs, and now we have the most secure border in American history. For 5 months, they said zero, no people came into our country illegally. They came in through a legal process, but nobody came in through the southern border. Can you imagine? Even I can't, it's hard to believe that. And we do have it tight as a drum, but that's what we have to have. If you don't have borders, if you don't have a fair media, If you know, you need certain things. You need a good, fair media. They're getting better. They're not there yet, that I can tell you. But they're getting better. But you need borders. You got to have borders in a country, or you don't have a country. And now we have a border that the likes of which this country has never seen before. And people respect us for it. And with the help of our war fighters, we're decimating the savage drug cartels that poison our people. 200,000 people, maybe more than that, died last year because of what came into our country. Through an open border policy where 25 million people poured into our country, totally unvetted, totally unchecked. They came from prisons. They came from mental institutions and insane asylums. They were drug dealers. They were bad people. 11,388 were murderers, half of which committed more than one murder. They let them into our country. We're getting them the hell out. We're getting them out. We're getting them out fast. Is that okay with you? Yes, right? I have no doubt. Got to get them out. Just an unforced era. And we're also straightening out our cities. You know, Washington, D.C., our beautiful capital, was a killing mess. People getting killed all the time. It was very high crime. And we sent in our National Guard. Again, great people. And I don't say they were totally politically correct. That's okay. And now it's a very safe. Now it's considered a very safe. It took 12 days. We got 1,700 people, career criminals, many of which came in through Biden's open border, and they infiltrated our nation's capital. And we had a very unsafe capital. But for years before that, it was very unsafe. Now it's as safe as there is anywhere in the country. You can have your daughter, your girlfriend, your wife, your boyfriend walk right in through the middle. Nobody's going to touch them. The crime is down to almost nothing. It's a whole different ballgame. It took literally 12 days, but let's give us a month to do it really. We had it drum tight, and it's a beautiful thing. And our people in the service, and you know, people don't care. If we send in our military, if we send in our National Guard, if we send in Space Command, they don't care who the hell it is. They just want to be safe. And we have safe cities now. We're starting in Memphis. And Memphis was a disaster. It's been there. They've been there for 2 weeks, and it's a whole different series. Crime is less than half, and within a month it'll be gone. Getting rid of all the bad ones. And we're going to go into Chicago. We're going to go into our cities. We're going to clean them out. We're going to straighten them out. And we're going to have safe cities because you want to protect safe cities. We're going to have beautiful, safe cities, and it's happening very quickly and very easily, actually. It's easy for us. It's hard for them. And we have to have a little more help. It doesn't matter, really. We can do as we want to do, but it would be nice to have more help from some of the Democrat governors that don't mind. In Chicago, 2 weeks ago, 4 people murdered, 11 people shot. This weekend, it was like terrible, much worse than that. And then we have a governor that stands up and says, oh, it's wonderful. It's not wonderful. And what we're doing is we're going to make it totally safe. It'll be very safe very soon. And we're doing that with all of our cities that are troubled. We have cities that are troubled. We can't have cities that are troubled. And we're sending in our National Guard. And if we need more than the National Guard, we'll send more than the National Guard because we're going to have safe cities. We're not going to have people killed in our cities. And whether people like that or not, that's what we're doing. And you've been watching what our missiles do to boats and ships and submarines. How about the submarine? They said, no, that was just fishing. The radical left Democrats said, well, it was a submarine, but they were just fishing. Submarines don't go fishing, do they? You know more about submarines than I do. You have a beauty parked outside, actually. This is a submarine, and you know what it was designed for? Transporting drugs, and it got hit. But each one of those vessels that we hit kill, on average, 25,000 people, American people, every single year. They kill, each one of them killed 25,000 people. So we have to stop it, and we have stopped it. And I want to thank Pete for having the courage to do it. And believe me, people are very honored that you do it. 25,000 people for each boat. For many years, the drug cartels have waged war in America, and at long last, we're finally waging war on the cartels. We're waging war like they've never seen before. and we're going to win that battle. We're winning it already. The sea, I mean, the only problem is nobody wants to go into the sea anymore. Even the fishing boats, they say, let's take a pass. But they don't want that. But we're knocking them out one by one. And very importantly, we've almost stopped completely the drugs coming in by sea. And now we'll stop the drugs coming in by land. That's going to be very easy. More importantly, we're ending wars. We're ending wars all over this planet. And as you know, and I said before, I ended 8 wars in 8 months, the most of any president in history. No president that we know has ever ended any war. A lot of them go into wars. But this includes Kosovo and Serbia, the Congo and Rwanda, Pakistan and India, Israel and Iran. You saw that. How about those B-2 bombers? They went in there. They took out that nuclear capability. Iran would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 months. Not anymore. Egypt and Ethiopia, Armenia and Azerbaijan. That was going on for 35 years. Big, horrible war. And just this month, we ended the war in Gaza, in the Middle East. We ended the war in the Middle East. Nobody thought it was possible. And we also just signed a deal in Malaysia between a war that was just starting, Cambodia and Thailand. So we saved millions and millions of lives. And I did it mostly verbally. We didn't have to get you involved. When we don't get you involved, that's a good thing. We don't want you to get involved. If I can avoid you getting involved, if I have an ability to do things that maybe other people don't, or we see things, but we stopped a lot of those wars based on trade and tariffs and penalties. And, you know, they're getting all ready to fight, and then we tell them, no more trading with the United States. We're putting tariffs on your nation, et cetera, et cetera. It's called national security for us, but it's really national security for the whole world. And everywhere we go, America is actually making peace, and it's peace through strength. When they look at this, when they look at you people, they say, we're not going to mess around with them. So it's very important. After years of crippling inflation, back home we had the worst inflation in the history of our country. Energy costs are down. You know, energy costs are way down. Gasoline prices are way down. Grocery prices are way down. We have a little problem with beef. We're going to get that down very quickly, but the prices are way down. Mortgage rates are down despite having an incompetent head of the Fed. I call him too late. He's always too late. He's too late in lowering interest rates. I call him Jerome Too Late Powell. But despite having a totally grossly incompetent guy, we blow through it, because we're doing so well. Inflation has been defeated, and workers' wages are rising at the fastest pace in 60 years, and that includes your wages. They're rising in the fastest pace. The workers, I'm not talking about the rich people. Rich people, everyone's doing well. Everyone in our country is now doing well. My first term, we built the greatest economy in the history of the world. We had an economy like nobody has seen before. Now, we're doing it again, but this time, actually, it's going to be much bigger, much stronger. I told you $17 trillion, but it's going to be $21 trillion. And that's numbers that have never been heard of before. Much bigger than any other country in the world by literally $16 trillion. It's amazing. The sailors on this ship sacrificed so much for our country, and the president, and I will tell you, the president standing right up here loves you. I respect you and I love you. And I'm giving everything I have to make sure that when you get home, you find an America that is safe and proud and sovereign and free. One service member who reminds us that we're working for you and for everybody and for our country is Chief Warrant Officer Will Hightower, who serves on the George Washington in the all-important DEC department. Do you know what the DEC department is? I have no idea. But they do. In April 2024, Will sailed away from Norfolk, leaving behind his wonderful wife, Megan, their precious 6-year-old daughter, and their 1-year-old son. In the past 12 months, he has only been home for 3 weeks total, 3 weeks. An enormous sacrifice, very tough on the family, but an experience everyone on the ship really knows very well. In February, Will's tour will come to an end, and he will finally be going home just in time for his daughter's birthday. So, Will, I want to thank you together with all of those people that go through the same thing. I want to really thank, where is Will? Is Will around here? Where is Will? Wow, look at him. But these are good-looking people here. That's great, Will. How does it feel? Good? That's great. Feels amazing. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. See, in the old days, I'd say, does your wife still love you? But I don't do that anymore, you know? Does your wife still love you? Yes. Do you still love your wife? Every day. That's good. Okay, that's good. So that's good. Great. Beautiful. Say hello to your daughter, right? And your wife. And just in conclusion, every sailor here today inherits a legacy of valor and grit and glory unmatched in the long history of mankind's voyage on the seas. It's a voyage like nobody's ever had like you have. For 2.5 centuries, America's Navy has preserved the vision of our first commander-in-chief who gave this ship its storied name, its righteous soul, and its timeless motto, first in war, first in peace. Very famous phrase, George Washington. After 250 years, that is exactly what our country is today. It's first in war, first in peace, first in wealth, first in power, first in science, first in spirit, and first in freedom. And we went through 4 bad years, but now America will always be first again. If you have the right person up here, if you have somebody that understands a lot of different subjects, we're going to be bigger, better, stronger, and more important, really, frankly, to the world. Japan respects us. If you see what's going on all over the world, they're respecting us again. They respect us like never before. The treatment they gave me all over as I go around to different countries is great, but it's really a respect for me, but it's a bigger respect for our country. They respect our country again. They didn't respect our country just a few years ago. From Boston Harbor to Hampton Roads, and from Caribbean Sea to the Red Sea, from the Atlantic to the Pacific, and from the Persian Gulf to what is now known as the Gulf of America. Isn't it nice? They say it now routinely. I heard the news today. The Gulf of America, weather is wonderful. They don't say it with a smile. It's called the Gulf of America. How did that happen, right? And it took me, you know, for many years I said, why is it called the Gulf of Mexico when we seem to have the shore? Well, we do. We have 92% of the shoreline. So I said, you know, when we make it back, not if, when, too big to rig. We made it too big to rig. I said, get out and vote. Too big to rig. Make it that way. I said, I'm going to change it. And one of the first things I did is I changed it. Nobody could even fight it. They tried. We got sued all over the place. We won every suit. And it's now officially the Gulf of America. Isn't that nice? But our sailors have written honor, greatness, and triumph into the pages of history. What you're doing is incredible, and it's an incredible time for our country. On gun decks and flight decks and torpedo rooms and cockpits, the men and women of the Navy have poured out their blood and sweat and tears to defend the land of the free and the home of the brave. They've crossed icy channels, leapt from burning wreckage, stormed into frigid waters, soared into deadly skies, and laid down their lives to ensure the survival of liberty. Now, all of us here today carry on that noble mission, and no matter what challenge comes our way, no matter what danger we face, we hoist our great American flag very, very high. We race into the waves, and we rally to that immortal battle cry of the American sailor, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead, right? Together with our incredible Japanese allies and all of our allies all over the world, we stand strong, we stand proud, we will stand taller than we've ever stood before, and we will be freer and braver and more brilliant than ever before. And we will fight, 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 and we will win, win, win. And I want to thank everybody at the USS George Washington and the U.S. Forces Japan. God bless our military. God bless Japan. God bless the United States of America. And God bless our Navy. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good times there in Japan overnight, East Coast time. Of course, a great speech there on the USS George Washington. We have more coverage coming up here live on RSBN Live. I'm Matthew Alvarez. Thanks again for streaming in with us. Let's go to All Family Pharmacy, one of our great sponsors here at the network. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and this is a time when many families are searching for clarity, for hope, and for options worth learning about. More people today are exploring repurposed medications like mebendazole for its potential cancer support and ongoing research. So All Family Pharmacy believes you deserve access and the freedom to explore what may feel right for you and your loved ones. So they make the process simple. A licensed doctor reviews every order to ensure it's appropriate, and your medication then will be shipped directly to your door. And for this final week of October, they're offering what you see right there, 40% off mebendazole. The offer ends on Friday, October 31st. And the discount is automatically applied at checkout, so there's no need for a code for mebendazole. Visit allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN to learn more. Again, that's allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN, and you can order before October 31st. And as always, this is not medical advice. Please consult with a licensed physician to determine what's best for your care. All right, allfamilypharmacy.com to monetary gold. For years, the signs have been clear, but most Americans ignored them. Now the storm beneath the dollar is impossible to miss. Gold is broken through $4,000 an ounce, silver past $50, and it isn't luck, it's logic. So when governments spend beyond their means, when every crisis is met with another trillion printed out of thin air, the value of your money must fall. So history proves it. Every time a currency weakens, gold and silver rise to reveal the truth. These metals don't depend on promises. They don't vanish. When confidence collapses, they endure. So that's why the world's strongest institutions are moving into physical gold, quietly but decisively. Now is your moment to do the same. You can call that number you see there on the screen for the free info kit, 888-617-7994, or you can go to rsbnforthegold.com. Take what you've built and make it real before the next headline reminds you that paper wealth is just that, paper. One more sponsor here. Let's go to callsheet.com. You can download the app. You can go to the website. You can go to the QR code. You have 3 ways to access Callsheet. More than 1 million users online, of course. That number growing. If you're looking to bet, trade, or just check out the polls out there, a lot of topics on Callsheet. Great sponsor here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. It's 12/21, Tuesday, October 28th. Earlier today, I was speaking with Representative Moore of West Virginia, and we were talking about other international news, including the atrocities that are happening in Nigeria. Here's that exchange. Let's shift domestically to the international scene. I saw an interview on Fox the other day, and you were talking about the Christians in Nigeria, the slaughtering of Christians there. And I'm glad that you're on. I'm glad you're speaking about this, because a lot of people on X and Truth are like, why is nobody talking about it? But you are, sir.
Yes, and this is something I've been talking about since I got into Congress. My first floor speech that I gave in April was about the persecution of Christians in Muslim-majority nations, and specifically talking about Nigeria and also talking about Syria. But to stay on Nigeria, just so people understand, since 2009, there has been in between 50,000 and estimates of up to 100,000 Christians murdered in Nigeria. It is the most dangerous country in the world for Christians currently. There's 35 Christians being martyred a day in Nigeria. That's 7,000 so far this year. And also this year, we had 35 Christians murdered on Palm Sunday, Ash Wednesday. They kidnapped a priest and murdered that priest as well. There is a genocide going on over there of Christians in Nigeria, and no one is speaking up. And what I want is for us to have some courage and conviction in our faith for these people who are being martyred for that exact same faith, and the brave people in Nigeria.
Great points. And so what do you think can be done? Are you calling on anyone within the federal government? I know you're already in the federal government, but what can be done?
Yes, so I wrote a letter specifically to Secretary Marco Rubio, who has been supportive when he was a senator on this issue. and trying to get his attention and say, we want this country, Nigeria, designated as a country of particular concern. So what does that mean? Why is that important? Well, the United States has security assistance programs with Nigeria. So that's military hardware and equipment provided and also training. Why were we doing that? The reason was so they could stop these killings that have been going on, specifically to eliminate Boko Haram, who operates in the north. Then you have IS West Africa. But we also have this Fulani tribe that is perpetrating a lot of the murders in the middle band of the country of Nigeria right now. So that designation as a country of particular concern, when you go back to the Trump administration's first term, they had designated Nigeria as a country of particular concern, and the murders had precipitously dropped. The Biden administration took that designation off, claiming that actually the killings were happening because of climate change and disputes over land in that middle band territory. And that's why the Fulani Islamic terrorists were killing people, not because they were Christians, because of climate change. So we are asking for the Trump administration, specifically Secretary Marco Rubio, to put that designation back in place.
All right, so an interview from earlier this morning here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Thank God for Representative Riley Moore there out of West Virginia. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully this week there'll be some traction on that terrible thing that's happening there in Nigeria. And if you could speak about it out there, wherever you are on Truth Social or on X, just bring a lot of attention to it. As we know, there's a lot going on in this world, but that's definitely something that people are talking about out there in Africa. We're going to return from Africa. We're going to go all the way to Japan here in just a minute. Let's go to a couple of our sponsors before we do. Let's go to angelpaste.com out of Spring, Texas. Of course, the great flagship products right there on your screen. It's the Miracle Cream, and there's a number of other great products on angelpaste.com. So go ahead and check it out if you'd like. You can purchase this for some great gift ideas, angelpaste.com. Let's go to covepure.com/RSBN as well. If you like tap water, you might as well turn down the volume on this one, because this is the opposite of that. That's a lot cleaner, better tasting water, a lot healthier to drink water that doesn't have a bunch of junk in it. Let's just be straight up about that. So this covepure.com machine here, this purifier, definitely just takes away 99.9% of all of that stuff that's in water. A lot of these pipes out there, very old, a lot of that water coming through. There's even pharmaceuticals and stuff in there. It's just not good. So if you're looking for the option of cold, warm, and hot, and on top of that 99.9% of toxins being taken out of your drinking water, Cove Pure is the way to go. And you can get $200 off for a limited time right now. So just go to covepure.com/RSBN, drink pure, and live pure. Let's also go to Perplexity here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. A quick question for you. How much time do you spend every day on a web browser? How much time do you spend clicking around online, searching, scrolling, typing endless tabs? It's a lot, right? Well, there's a new AI web browser from Perplexity. You see it right there. It's called Comet. Now, using Comet feels like having a personal assistant living in your web browser that can actually do things for you across the internet. Actually do things, not just answer some questions, right? You can ask Comet to handle tasks for you, and it literally clicks, types, searches, and scrolls just like you would to get things done for you in the background while you go about your day. So Comet can shop for you, make reservations, book travel, summarize articles or videos, send emails, schedule meetings, and a lot more to make your life easier. So just download that app right there, or go to that website that you see on the bottom right of your screen, pplx.ai/RSBN. And when you download Comet, you get a month of Rumble Premium for free. 3 great sponsors approaching the bottom of the hour here on RSBN Live. I'm Matthew Alvarez. Thanks again for streaming in. Let's go now to Japan with President Trump.
Welcome, everybody. I'm incredibly proud to announce that this evening we're going to be signing $490 billion of investment. First time I left it down, I didn't get to $500 billion. I came a little short. We'll get there. Anyway, so these These deals are driven by the Japanese Strategic Investment Initiative, which was created by your tariff policy and by your historic trade agreement with Japan. So that was the underlying reason that we were able to get all these deals done today.
All right. Thank you.
So the commitments ensure the economic and national security of the United States of America. We're going to be developing energy. We're going to be developing nuclear, semiconductors, and strengthening the entire domestic supply chain. So I'd like to kick it off, right? And the first company I'd like to announce is Westinghouse, which will invest up to $100 billion in nuclear reactors to restore U.S. energy dominance. And we have the co-signer is Bruce Flagg, who's the chairman and CEO of Brookfield Asset Management. So come on up. There you go. You can hold it with the president. Come right.
Nice to meet you. Great to have you.
We're starting with the big deals. Then we have GE Vernova, also $100 billion by using nuclear, the construction of SMRs, and also large-scale power equipment such as gas turbines, steam turbines, and generators. And we have Scott Strazik, CEO of GE Vernova. Next, we have Bechtel is doing up to $25 billion in construction and engineering services to build these large-scale power all across the United States of America. And Brendan Bechtel, please come on up. Next up is Hewitt, also $25 billion in engineering, procurement, and construction services. Tom Shelby, come on up, the group president. Someone we know really well. Masa-san from SoftBank is going to provide $25 billion of engineering, development, specification, design, procurement of large-scale power infrastructure in America. Next, we have Toshiba, also up to $25 billion in U.S. electrical power modules and transformers. One, up to $25 billion in large-scale baseload power infrastructure. And this is Wadi Habush. Next, we have the Carrier Corporation. We'll build up to $20 billion in thermal cooling systems and solutions, chillers, air handlers, and coolant distribution for our power infrastructure. And with us today is Michael Georges. Here. Kinder Morgan, the great pipeline company in America, is providing up to $7 billion in natural gas transmission and other power infrastructure. We have Kimberly Tang, who's the CEO, with us today. Infrastructure. Next, we have Mitsubishi Electric, which will build up to $30 billion in power station systems. We've got generators, transmission, and equipment, all for data centers. Kiai Uma. Next up, TDK will build $25 billion in electronic components and power modules that are essential for the AI infrastructure.
All right, so we've played a lot of videos over the past hour or two here on Right Side. Of course, that one, some technical difficulties on that one. So what we're going to do is go through a few sponsors, and then we'll go back out to Japan, where President Trump actually delivered a speech to top business leaders. We're going to have that in its entirety as well. So it's 12:35. Let's go to Brightcore right now. You know, there's a war happening right now, and it's probably not where you think. It's in your gut. Well, a battle between good and bad bacteria that determines your health and overall quality of life. So kimchi is a traditional Korean food used for over 2,000 years for its remarkable health benefits. Kimchi One from Brightcore Nutrition is the fermented superfood your body needs to arm the good guys with the right weapons to defeat the bad actors once and for all. So all health starts in the gut. So putting the right fermented superfood in your gut improves every aspect of your health. Your heart, your brain, even the quality of your skin and the growth of your hair. So containing more than 900 strands of beneficial bacteria in each capsule, Kimchi One supports healthy digestion, fortifies your immune system, and helps detoxify your body. Kimchi also has been shown to reduce risk of obesity and promote smaller waistlines by curbing appetite and naturally boosting your metabolism. Kimchi One is all natural, non-GMO, dairy-free, gluten-free, and 100% made in the USA. 888-722-0936. Let's also go to Chapter here on Right Side. For a number of people in our audience, it's Medicare annual enrollment time. If you're 64 or older, you know what that means. Nonstop robocalls, junk mail, and spam texts from people trying to sell you something. The truth is Medicare is confusing on purpose. And who benefits? The big insurance companies do. And every year, they quietly change their plans. Some plans they even drop completely. This leaves millions of Americans stuck on plans that cost too much or cover too little. So even if you like your current plan, you've got to look at some of these 2026 options. And that's where Chapter comes in. Chapter doesn't work for big insurance or the government. They're independent. They're the only advisors who compare every Medicare plan nationwide to find the one that fits your needs and preferences. They make things quick and easy, and it takes under 20 minutes to review your options. So if your plan's still the best for you in 2026, great, you're done. If not, they'll help you switch. And on average, people who work with Chapter can save upwards of $1,100 a year. And the best part is their help is free, so don't let the system take advantage of you. Call 833-438-3359 and let Chapter make your Medicare work for you. One more sponsor here, MyPillow.com. You guys know about MyPillow, right? We've been talking about MyPillow for a number of years here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. More than 2,000 products to choose from there. So just use the promo code, as you see there, RSBN. A lot of great deals, a lot of great quality products. MyPillow.com/RSBN, as it's 12:38, Tuesday, October 28th. Thanks again for joining us. Let's go to President Trump, where he delivered a speech to top business leaders while in Japan. And before we do, again, we're following a lot of local news as well in the sense of domestic news, as today is day 28 of the government shutdown. Also, on top of that, we're tracking that in 7 days. We're going to see the election day, November 4th. We're watching closely the New Jersey and Virginia gubernatorial races, along with the AG race in Virginia, among other races out there, including the New York City mayoral race. We'll see what happens there. We hope for the best, praying that it works out. And also, hopefully, a lot of people in New York City are kind of like, you know what? I'd rather Curtis Sliwa or Andrew Cuomo over the other option. Also, if you missed it earlier in the broadcast, the West Virginia Representative Riley Moore joined us to talk about a number of topics out there, including the atrocities happening in Nigeria. If you missed any of that interview, you can always re-rack that a little bit later after this coverage, which is going to be ending within the hour, I believe. But let's go now to President Trump as he spoke to a number of top business leaders in Asia.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Wow, this room really is full. Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome on this truly very special occasion. This is, in so many ways, a celebration of the United States and Japan alliance. And the power and the potential of that partnership is sitting in this room. We added up the market cap, and it's over $8 trillion is sitting in this room. And around these tables, we have the very best American and Japanese economic might. And it is your company's innovation, your expertise and vision harnessed by President Trump that is taking our remarkable partnership to new heights. It was an honor to be part of 2 of the president's election campaigns. And it's to be able to witness during those his tireless energy and his love of country. And it is the privilege of a lifetime to serve him and the American people at such a significant moment. Since Inauguration Day this year, the President has shown once again that he is the greatest deal maker, he is the greatest peacemaker, and he is the world's greatest leader. And it is my deep honor to welcome to the stage the 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Introduction. Wow. I want to use that elsewhere on occasion. And you know what? Sit down. You're just all happy because the stock market hit an all-time high today, which it did. You made a lot of money. You're making a lot of money. But I congratulate you. It really is. It's an amazing room of people, tremendously successful, great businessmen, beyond business, really. Most of you are really beyond business, so it's an honor to be with you. We had a long day, a long couple of days. We were in Malaysia. We're celebrating a great end to a war that could have happened. It was a big deal. I won't bore you with the facts, but we ended 8 wars in 8 months, and I think there's another one coming. I thought the one coming was a lot easier than the Middle East. We did great with the Middle East. But with Russia, I thought that was going to be an easy one, Ukraine and Russia, because of the relationship with President Putin. But that didn't work out too well so far, but it will. We'll get it done too. But that'll be number 9. I think that's just about it. If anyone starts, I think generally speaking, I'll end it. Otherwise, a lot of people die, and we don't like that. But I want to thank our outstanding ambassador, George Glass, who you just heard from. Thank you, George. And his wife, Mary, thank you very much. Great job. This is such a great group of people that you put together. I'll be meeting with that I know in this room. I think a lot. Tim, are you going? Maybe? You're not. You mean you came here for this? And you're just going back just like that? Well, we'll be going to South Korea, and then on the following day, a meeting with President Xi, as you probably heard. But I also want to recognize people that have been doing a fantastic job. Our cabinet, we have a lot of members here tonight. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Where are you, Marco? Stand up, Marco. Thank you. Great job. He's doing a great job. They're all doing a great job. Secretary of War, you know, what used to be Secretary of Defense, Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. Thank you, Pete. You know, we used to be Secretary of War. It used to be the Department of War. And then we became politically correct. We won World War I, we won World War II, we won everything in between and everything in front of it. And then we'd win wars, but we'd leave after we won. We'd go into wars that we shouldn't have been in, but then we'd just leave. We'd bomb the hell out of somebody and we'd leave. And I said, you know what do you think of that idea? Pete said, I like it. I said, boy, that didn't take long. Right, Pete? But he's doing a great job. He's doing a great job on the border, too. You see what's happening. And we had drugs coming in, a lot of them coming in by sea. There aren't too many coming in by sea anymore. They've decided to take a pass. I don't know if you've seen what's happening, but it's really been amazing what's been happening in terms of our border. We have a border that's totally closed. We used to have a border that was totally open. We took in 25 million people. Many of them should never have been there. And they came from prisons, jails. They came from mental institutions, insane asylums. Some people say, how come you mention both? I say, well, the insane asylum is a mental institution on steroids. And it's beyond the mental institution. But we took them both. And we took drug dealers. We took everybody. What a disgrace. What a disgraceful job they did, the previous administration. And I wouldn't normally say that. But what they did to our country was incredible. And now, you know, we had a country, it was a dead country. Everybody, so many of the leaders that I've met, King of Saudi Arabia told me, they all said essentially, we thought your country was dead. 1 year ago, we thought your country was dead. Now it's the hottest country anywhere in the world, like by far. I mean, we have some leaders here, so I don't want to insult anybody. We have the hottest country in the world. So I just want to thank some of these people. Scott Bessent, you're doing a great job, Secretary of Treasury. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Scott. Great. How good is he on television? You know, he soothes the markets. I don't soothe the market. I sometimes disturb the markets. He soothes the markets. He goes, I said, Scott, go in and clean it all up for me, Scott. And he goes in, bop. And he's really terrific. He's done a great job. And I'm thinking about him for the Fed. See, now the camera's going, breaking news, but he won't take the job. He likes being Treasury. So we're not thinking about him really, oh yeah. But we're very proud of the job you're doing. Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick. Thank you, Howard. We just did, I guess it's about 518 billion in the other room. We were a little bit short of 500, and then we had a couple of people that just announced, including Toyota, 10 billion, going to open new car plants throughout the United States, a lot of them, and that's great. because of the tariffs and because of the November 5th election, I think both. But the tariffs have been tremendously helpful in terms of national security, the national security for our country. And a lot of the wars that I stopped were because of tariffs. And frankly, I did a great service to the world, but because of tariffs, because of trade. If you look at India and Pakistan, they were going at it. 7 planes were shot down. 7 brand new, beautiful planes were shot down, and they were going at it, 2 big nuclear powers. And I said to Prime Minister Modi, and I said to the Prime Minister, a very nice man, a very good man, and the Field Marshal over in Pakistan, I said, look, we're not going to do any trade if you're going to be fired. No, one thing has nothing to do with the other. I said, it has a lot to do with the other. 2 nuclear powers. We get that nuclear dust all over the place. All of you are affected, right? And we said, no, we're not doing any deals if you're going to fight. And within about 24 hours, that was the end of that. It was amazing, actually. And we've done numerous like that. I would say trade is responsible for 70% of the fact that we didn't have wars by using our heads, because they want to trade with the United States. But I said, we're not going to trade if you're going to go to war. And it's amazing how quickly they were able to make deals. And, they would have been fighting for 10 years, killing millions of people, numerous of them. So we're very happy about that. But I also want to say that U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer's, he's really fit. Where is he? He leaves everybody happy. He does everybody, they have such confidence in him. Even the other side. I mean, you have to have both sides have confidence, especially when it comes to trade between countries. But Jamieson, you're doing a great job. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And we had a phenomenal day here in Japan with a momentous trade deal. We made a big, beautiful trade deal for both countries. In fact, to the best of my knowledge, I think Japan also had their best stock market day ever. So your new prime minister is doing very well. First female, first woman prime minister. And I said, you already hit the highest stock price you've ever hit. So she's very happy. And we spent the whole day together. It was beautiful. And she's great. We went out to the USS George Washington, the SS George Washington. It was really great. The sailors and a lot of others, we had a lot of people, a lot of military people were there, but boy, that was some scene. It was incredible. You wouldn't believe that a ship could hold that many people. But I just want to say that she is a delight, and I think she's going to be a great prime minister. I really do. I got to know her pretty well in a short period of time. She was a very good friend and ally of Shinzo Abe, who is a friend of mine, one of my best friends in terms of this world, the world of nations. And he was a great man, and he got, unfortunately, what happened to him was sad, very sad. But he was a great leader, and we miss him very much. But a fantastic tribute to the U.S.-Japanese alliance aboard that ship today, USS, think of it, USS George Washington. It's the only ship that just doesn't come back to the United States. It stays here, and it's very proud. This is our largest military contingent, Pete, I think like 66,000 soldiers, Navy and others. So this was a fantastic day. The level of excitement and enthusiasm, it's so easy. People say, how do you speak in front of that many people and enjoy it? When you have so much love, there's such love. There was such love on that ship. It's really easy to do. They don't understand that. It's easy to do. But tonight I'm more confident than ever that the friendship between the United States and Japan is strong as it can be. And it's thriving, it's prosperous, and it'll soon be, I think, greater than ever before. And we had 4 great years. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country, but we're blowing it away this time, to be honest with you. We're blowing it. We had 4 great years. As you know, we had the 1-year deduction. I call it the 1-year little deduction, like you can deduct every single thing. And nobody ever thought that was possible. That beats 38 years, right? But now we did it for a period of 10 years instead of a period of 1 year. It's much stronger. And you can deduct structures. And for the people, you have no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security. Think of it, no tax on overtime for your workers. And it really covers everything. The great, big, beautiful bill. we got everything done. I said, let's get it all done. A lot of people want to do it little small pieces, like 9 of them, 12 of them. I said, put it all into one bill, and if we get it done, we're done for 4 years. We don't need anything more from Congress in terms of that, right, Scott? We got it all done. It was a little risky, but because if we didn't get it done, I don't know. Who knows what would happen with these radical left lunatics that we have to deal with. But we got it all done, and now we're set, and you're set. The investment in this country is set. You have all that you want. The people in this room are the living embodiment of the U.S.-Japanese economic partnership that together we're taking to even greater heights. It will, I think, never be like it is now, but it'll get even better if that's possible. I especially want to thank Japanese companies, SoftBank. I think Masa is here. Where's Masa? I played golf with this guy last week. He sank every putt, every putt. We played with Bryson DeChambeau. We had a great match. And the great Gary Player. Gary Player's 90 years old and he shot 70. Is that right?
And we did 22 under.
That's right. We won the tournament. We had 36 teams and we won the tournament. And we didn't cheat either. You know, a lot of those teams cheated because I know how they play, and they did not shoot those scores. But I think we got, well, it helped to have Bryson hitting a ball 400 yards. You know, it's always nice to have. I said, I'll take Bryson on our team. But we had a great time, and you played great, and you putted very well, and I appreciate it because I now have an extra trophy on my desk, and I like that. Yes, please.
Four Eagles.
That's right. 4 Eagles. We made 4 Eagles. And no, I seriously mean, every time he stood over a putt, I'm not saying it's going to happen every time, but it happened this time. And he's bing, and we didn't have to putt because we're playing best ball. So we didn't have to putt. So thank you very much, Masa. That's better than all the deals you made. That made him feel better than all the deals he's made. Thank you. It's great to be here. We'll do it again. But I also want to thank Toyota for that great, it's not a contribution, it's an investment. We're having investments in our country greater than ever before, greater than any country has ever had, actually. We'll talk about that. And I also want to thank the people from Carrier here someplace. Where's Carrier? They were here. Just thank you. Thank you very much. They made a big contribution also to the White House fund. We're redoing lots of things in the White House. We're bringing it up to the way it should be. And you probably heard, I don't know if anybody heard about, we're building a little ballroom over there. People are loving it. Now they're loving it. It took them a little while to understand what was going on, but now we actually got an editorial from the Washington Post and from the New York Times saying, you got to build that ballroom. I couldn't believe it when that happened. Look, they're back there right now. They can't believe I'm saying good things about them. But it's been great. But I want to thank Carrier. They make great air conditioning, heating, and things, and they were very generous. It's really fantastic what they did. And with the help of many of you here tonight, almost all of you, the only people that haven't done anything snuck into the room because I think you're all here because of what you've done. And so if there's anybody that hasn't done anything, please raise your hand and we'll throw you the hell out of here, okay? But Japan is already America's 6th largest trading partner, and I think as of today that's gone up probably 2 notches, and the #1 source of foreign direct investment. And so they're very happy because, as goes our market, so many countries, they invest in the United States, but we've never had anything quite like what's happening. And I think it's going to get better. I can say it now. So we have over $17 trillion of investment in 8 months. And I think by the time we go to the 12-month period, we'll have over $20 or $21 trillion invested or to be invested. Very importantly, I mean, the money's coming in, and a lot of it's commitments that are incredible. Tim Cook is doing, I think, like $600 or $650 billion, right? Think of it. You've done more than the entire group here. We raised $518 billion, and there's one man sitting here at $650. But good, and everything is, they're treating you great, right? We give them fast permits. We give everybody fast permits. No more waiting 20 years before you get rejected. You know, that used to have a process. I know a couple of people, they started a process when they were young men. Now they're old men and they got rejected. Can you imagine? They devoted their whole life to getting a couple of permits. One of the things I did that's really helping AI because of the massive amount of electricity that they need is I said, you build your own power plant if you'd like. So far, everybody said, well, we like. But at first, they weren't doing it. I said, I wonder why. Because they didn't believe me. They didn't believe they were actually getting this. You know, we have a grid that's like a lot of grids, it's old. And nobody ever said that we're going to be, you know, doubling. You have to double or triple the amount of electricity that we currently have. As an example, in the United States, you have to triple it, but double it at a minimum, but really triple it in order to take care of just AI. Can you believe this? More than double what we have currently. So for all of that, we have to more than double it. And I said, well, that's not, you know, something you can do from the grid. I mean, how would you do that? You have an old grid, and it's doing okay. We're fixing it, but you can't do that. And I came up with the idea that you're building a plant. They're spending $50 billion to build a plant. I said, you can build your own electric generating sources. And honestly, some of the people in this room, they're building electric generators that are so far beyond anything that's ever been built before. They're using all different types of fuel. They're using nuclear. They're using oil and gas. They're using coal as a backup. Coal is a great backup. If something happens, you can put it aside, and if you ever need it, you can use it. But it's a great thing. And we're getting you very fast approvals. Lee Zeldin's doing a fantastic job. We're giving you fast approvals. You don't have to wait, 9 years. You're waiting a matter of weeks, literally a matter of weeks. You're coming in with the best engineers in the world. You know what you're doing. And so as you build your plant, you're sort of in the utility business, like Con Edison in New York. You're building your own electric, and you can build it as much as you want. And if you have any left over, you sell it into the grid. So our grid picks up a lot of electric without really us doing anything. You talk about private sector, that's the ultimate. But everybody loves it. And they're coming, honestly, I mean, somebody that understands that better than information, which is what the other part makes. You're going to make a lot of money with information. And but somebody that really does understand the generation of electricity, the kind of plants that are being built are unbelievable. They're far beyond anything being built in terms of your regular utility companies, which, it's sort of an older business. So I congratulate you. But the beauty is that you start building immediately. Tim, you don't have to wait, well, if we went by the grid 10, 12, 15 years, but the permits are fast, and you open as soon as you have your plants or your combination of plants. Some are building it on top. Some are building it to the side. Some are building separate buildings. Some are building in one building. And I love the idea. But literally, it took them a while to really, they thought I was kidding. It was so good. They said, no, he's kidding. I said, I'm not kidding. That's why we're leading China. We're leading everybody in this race. So we're with you all the way, and I hope everyone's going to do great and make a tremendous amount of money and create a lot of jobs. Under the historic trade deal with the Prime Minister that is signed today and private sector agreements that were signed moments ago, we'll be increasing our commerce very, very much further. Japan's going to be investing $550 billion into the United States, and it's an amazing thing, and they're happy, and they're gonna love it. It's going to be really good. It's going to be great for everybody. But building up an allied industrial base, and one of the things that makes me so happy is they'll be taking some of our product. Japan has I don't think I'm saying anything that's very secret. They've been typically slightly closed as a country. It was not easy to come in, but they're taking some of our cars and a lot of our different thing, rice, which is actually a big deal because, as you know, they wouldn't do that. And they're taking corn, and they're taking the Ford 150. I hear the big thing, some of our cars. So it's really a great thing. It's going to be great for them. It's going to be great for everybody. But we're doing semiconductors together, critical minerals, shipbuilding. We're starting shipbuilding together. And they're doing pretty well with shipbuilding. They're number 3. They're going to be coming over to the United States and building ships in some of the yards. We have some great yards. The United States was number 1 during World War II, number 1 in the world in shipbuilding by far. we would produce a ship a day. Can you believe it? A ship a day, you know, freighters and this and that, but some big ones too, some great warships. And we just let that, our leadership, the person standing right where I am numerous years ago, a number of them, they just let it slip. And so we're going to be very heavy into the shipbuilding in a very pretty short period of time. It takes a while to get that one going, but to think that we were #1 in the world, and now we're, you know, we basically don't make very many ships anymore. We do beautiful Coast Guard cutters, we do beautiful smaller ships like destroyers, etc. But we don't, essentially, we don't really do what we should be doing, and we will be doing that pretty soon. But the deals will create jobs and opportunity, wealth, tremendous wealth and security for both sides and for both sides of the Pacific, and make our cherished bond between the two countries even better. And we've got so many wonderful deals, but this is one that people have been very, very interested in. They really waited for this day, and I found it to be an amazing day. Not an easy day. I think we've gone to about 9 stops. You think Biden could have done this? I don't think so. You think so? I've been walking back and forth. Sir, we're going over here. It's just a quarter of a mile. Walking would be fine, sir. Oh, thanks a lot, you know. But we had a lot of stops today from early in the morning until now. But this is one that I was thrilled because I see the list of people. This is really a who's who, this list. I was reading it. I don't get that impressed with things. I'd say, wow, that's really pretty amazing. But I'm thrilled that so many Japanese investors recognize that people from all over the planet are now discovering that the United States is hot, and it's also a place where you can really do business. Getting the approvals is so great. You know, in my first term, we had an LNG plant, 2 of them. They were under approval. One was 14 years and one was 16 years. And actually, one of them was a big Japanese investor group, and they couldn't get their approvals. It was never going to happen. I come in, I didn't know anything about it, but I came in, I heard about it. And so they were 14 years, I think, and 16 years. And they were just about, they gave up, essentially. And I got one done in one day, and the other one, it took me, I didn't do as well. It took me 3 days to get it done, and they were under construction in less than a week. And they're up now, and they're doing phenomenally well, you know, in Louisiana, actually, 2 of them right on the coast. And people said, how'd you do that? I said, I have no idea, but I get things done. There's no better place on earth to invest and grow your business than the United States, and a lot of the environmental nonsense. And I'm a big environmentalist in a sense. Like, I want clean air, I want clean water. But we're going to make it great for our workers and our economy. We're not going to take, honestly, when I say 5 years, much longer than 5 years to do things. I actually said to some of our people, I said, look, you have, on big plants, you have 2 weeks on oil and gas to get the approvals. And if you go nuclear, 3 weeks for nuclear. You know, nuclear with Westinghouse is here, they've done great. They've really, they had a difficult problem a few years ago. They have become very hot, Westinghouse. They're doing a lot of work in the United States. We're doing a lot of nuclear now. Nuclear now is safe and it's inexpensive. It's great energy now. I was with nuclear, but I didn't love certain aspects of it. Today it's so different, and it really is a safe, great way to go. A lot of people are going that way. But 1 year ago, the United States was really you'd never get your permits. You'd wait years and years and years. And honestly, if you had another, like Kamala, I don't know where the hell she came from, but if you had Kamala, I was right. Against Biden, I went up by 29 points. All of a sudden, they take him out. It's like a fighter. He's losing the fight. They replace him in the middle of the fight. They gave me a new one. They gave me Kamala. I went from Joe to Kamala. But if she got in, I don't think there'd be nobody in this room. You wouldn't be doing anything. You'd be elsewhere doing things. And wouldn't be the same. But you have a great partner now in the United States getting you started, and you will have everything done very, very quickly. Record time, as fast as, I think, much faster than maybe any other country, other than China. Because in China, you have a good system also. You have a system where President Xi can approve it immediately. So that's even faster. He doesn't have to wait 2 weeks. I have to wait 2 weeks. But you do go quickly there, but we have a lot of advantages, as you know. Since the election, We've secured all of that money coming in, and we have a lot more money coming in. And again, I mentioned SoftBank, but JERA, JCB, Toyota, Mitsubishi, Hitachi, Honda, they're all coming into this. We have a lot of car plants opening up because of tariffs. They don't want to pay tariffs, and they come and frankly, Japan is sponsoring many of them because that way you don't have to pay the tariffs. Without the tariffs, I mean, tariffs are about national security, and we're making a lot of money. We're going to start paying down debt very soon. We have a lot of debt because honestly, we didn't know what the hell we were doing as a country. GDP growth in the second quarter was an amazing almost 4%. Nobody thought. They thought it was going to be 2%. They had no idea. Just announced 4%, almost 4%. And in the next quarter, I don't know. I think it can go much higher. I think when we kick in, when these plants start to open, we're building many of them. And a lot of them are car plants, but, you keep hearing about the AI, and that's obviously the biggest thing right now. And nobody's doing like but we have a lot of other plants coming in, but a lot of car plants are coming in. They're coming in from other countries. And next quarter, I think you're going to see maybe 4%, maybe more. But when these plants start opening up, you're going to see numbers that are going to be shocking. Energy prices are down. Gasoline are down. Groceries are down, except for the beef, which I'll get down to. Our ranchers were, for 25 years, they did poorly. And I put tariffs on some. It was just too much. They couldn't compete. They were going out of business. And maybe they're doing too good now. But we want them to do well. But we have to get the beef prices down. So that's, it's an easy problem to solve, but we'll always take care of our ranchers, too. And they were with me 100%. They've been with me from the beginning. We had an election that was too big to rig. We had to get it. I would constantly say, too big to rig. Don't believe polls that were way up. Just, you got to go and vote. When the polls are too high, people say, let's go to a movie and we'll go home and watch our president win. But I said, you got to go because we have a very corrupt election process, and you need that. You need borders, and you need a fair press, and the press is slightly better. I'd say, slightly, but it'll get better. I think it's getting better and better because otherwise they're going to lose all credibility, and nobody's going to be watching or listening to them. But you need strong borders, and you need good voting, and we're getting them both much better. The mortgage rates, except for the fact that we have an incompetent head of the Fed, I think he's incompetent. Or a bad guy, but despite that, mortgage rates are down. Who could believe that? We have an anti-person. I call him too late. He's always too late. He's been too late. And Jerome Too Late Powell. So somebody gave me a bad reference on him. I put him in based on some guy that turned out to be not so hot. And we got a bad Fed guy, but he'll be out of there a few months. And we'll get somebody new. I guess, Scott, you have a long list of people that want it. If anybody has any suggestions, because we really do, we have, all the people that are being talked to. If you have a suggestion, just shout it out. Just shout it out. Mark, do you have a suggestion? Mark has some pretty good suggestions. You put me on the cover of Time magazine. That was a nice picture. Thank you very much for that. That was very good. It was a nice story, too. Thank you very much. I've been on the cover almost 50 times, but Mark, I can only use 17 of them. Meaning the rest of them aren't so good. 17 are great. This one was very good. This is going up. Now I have 18. Thank you very much. I'll see you in a little while. But mortgage rates are down, and we're rapidly building the greatest economy, I think in history. I mean, look, bad things can happen. We're doing great, and even after COVID, we had the best 4 years. But all of a sudden, COVID, things happen. Things happen. Now, I hope things don't happen here, but we were doing numbers like nobody had ever seen before. Not as good as we're doing now. And then all of a sudden, we started hearing about people dying in different places of the world, in China and other places, and we have a COVID, we have a pandemic all of a sudden, and things like that happen. But hopefully that won't happen in this case, in this term. But we did a good job in handling it. We made more more machinery and everything else. We did great with the therapeutics, Regeneron, and we did the vaccine. We had the vaccine approved in 9 months, and there are many people that say that we saved 50 million lives worldwide. Not everybody agrees with that, but a lot of people say we saved 50 million lives. You know, in World War II, I guess we lost close to 100. People don't know that it was so bad, the Spanish flu, that it actually ended the war. That was what stopped the First World War. But we were on our way to really terrible numbers. We had, obviously, so many million people died. That was a terrible thing, but things happen, and things that you wouldn't think of. Who would have thought pandemic? I thought that was like an ancient problem. It wasn't a modern day problem. But a lot of people did a great job there, and we ended up with the 4 years great. We actually ended up, when I left, with a stock market price that was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Who would think that was even possible? Because we were rocking and rolling, and then that happened, and we ended up higher. The stock market was higher than it was just prior to hearing about this horrible plague. So just as importantly, we've implemented the largest regulation cuts in the history of our country, even larger than we had. We had the biggest, by 4 times, the biggest regulation cuts in history in my first term, and we're going to be doing that. And we're cutting, as you know, if we add one new regulation, you have to cut 8 or 10, 8 to 10. So you add one, and it's okay, and you cut 10. And we started at 8, now we're 10, including massive reductions in the red tape for the infrastructure and the rapid approvals, etc. But this includes the upcoming liquefied natural gas pipeline in Alaska, which we have well underway, to export vast amounts of American energy. And Japan is one of the big customers, by the way. And you know the slogan, our slogan, and we have fantastic people. Chris Wright is phenomenal. Doug Berger Doug is fantastic. Those two guys are like a partnership. They're unbelievable. I'm sure you're dealing with them very successfully. But our motto is drill, baby, drill. That's a little different than people that say you can't, drive energy through the roof. And I think you're going to see $2 gasoline pretty soon. And that's like bigger than a tax cut. That's the equivalent of something bigger than a tax cut. So support of Japanese companies like SoftBank, we're pursuing a very bold national policy to keep the United States the world's leader in artificial intelligence. We have some of the greatest in artificial intelligence right here. My uncle was a great professor at MIT, and he was always ahead of the game. He was a smart guy. He has the distinction of being at MIT, the longest-serving professor in the history of MIT, Dr. John Trump. And he was always ahead of the game. And when I see some of the things that are happening, you guys are really ahead of the game. We're speeding construction of AI infrastructure and bringing production of the critical chips and semiconductors back onshore. And I want to congratulate Jensen, because he's been really amazing. He's an amazing guy, brilliant guy. I'm seeing him tomorrow. 11 days ago, NVIDIA and TSMC announced that they have produced the very fast, first-rate, state-of-the-art, the Blackwell. It's like, I don't know, people say 10 years advanced, who knows, but a lot. And it's entirely made in the USA. As you know, TSMC and NVIDIA are spending hundreds of billions of dollars now in the United States. And many other chip makers are too. It's incredible, actually, to see what's happened in literally a period of, now it's a little bit less than 9 months. And don't forget, we had to celebrate for a couple of weeks, so I have to sort of deduct. Once we won, we celebrated, and we shouldn't have done that. We should have started immediately, not wasted 8 days. But we really didn't. America's once again a manufacturing nation, and something that we haven't talked about for a long time. Japan has been with us all the way, and it's amazing that we had a little conflict with Japan. You may have heard about it, and that after such a horrible thing, yet the two nations are the closest friends and partners that you can be, and based on a shared commitment to freedom, democracy, security, prosperity, civilization, and just basic human achievement. It's amazing, actually. As some of you may know, this very residence was once the home to the great General Douglas MacArthur. I don't know if you ever heard, he graduated #1 in his class at West Point, but they say that he was the single greatest student in the history of West Point. Now, I don't know how they go about doing that. I could see #1 for the year. I could see #1 for graduating, but they say he was the greatest student. He was a great intellect. A lot of people don't know that about General Douglas MacArthur. The moment that the peace was signed 80 years ago, that very brilliant man set about building a friendship between our two countries that has grown and deepened, and he actually wrote the Constitution here, and he did it all by himself. He was an intellect, and still the Constitution. Our partnership has been an extraordinary blessing to the world. If you look at what's happened and what's come out of it, I think a lot more is going to come out of it than even in the past. And I look forward to expanding it even further. We will do that, and I'm so happy to have gotten to know your new Prime Minister. I think she's going to go down as great. She was a real friend and ally of one of, as I told you, a great man, Shinzo Abe. He was really a great man. He was a great Prime Minister, and she was an absolute ally. And he would have been very happy if he knew that she was very heavily supported and ultimately winning for Prime Minister. So I think she's going to do a great job. She's got all of our support. But I want to thank everybody for being here. You're an amazing group of people. It's, each one of you has a story like really no other. And it's an honor to be here. We traveled long and far. It's a long flight, going to Malaysia, then say, let's stop over. But we wanted to be here for this because it's very special. And keep up the good work, and remember that you have a great friend and ally, and if you can't get Scott and Howard and all of our people, Marco, to get it done, call me and I'll override them if I have to. I will override them. But I want to thank you all very much, and I want to thank my cabinet for doing a great job. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, so we saw there, of course, the president speaking overseas. His next stop, South Korea, coming up soon, so that's later tonight. And we'll continue our live coverage throughout the week here, covering President Trump's trip to Asia. In the meantime, I've been tracking some of the Hurricane Cat 5 storm that's now hitting Jamaica. That storm is right on top of the entire island of Jamaica right now. So tracking that, praying for the safety of the people there. All right, let's go with a few sponsors here before we close our broadcast for the day. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And, this is a time when many families are searching for clarity, for hope, and for options worth learning about. More people today are exploring repurposed medications like mebendazole for its potential cancer support and ongoing research. Now, All Family Pharmacy believes you deserve access and the freedom to explore what may feel right for you and your loved ones. And they make the process simple. A licensed doctor reviews every order to ensure it's appropriate, and your medication is shipped directly to your door. So for this final week of October, they're actually offering 40% off mebendazole, as you see there on your screen. This offer ends at the end of the week, so October 31st. The discount is actually automatically applied at checkout, so there's no code needed. You can visit allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN to learn more. Again, that's allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. You can order before October 31st. And as always, this is not medical advice. Please consult with a licensed physician to determine what's best for your care. Great sponsor there, allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. Also, monetary gold. For years, the signs have been clear, but most Americans somewhat ignored them because now the storm beneath the dollar is impossible to miss. Gold has broken through $4,000 an ounce. Silver past $50, and it isn't luck, it's logic. So when governments spend beyond their means, when every crisis is met with another trillion printed out of thin air, the value of your money must fall. So history proves it. Every time a currency weakens, gold and silver rise to reveal the truth. These metals don't depend on promises. They don't vanish when confidence collapses. They endure. So that's why the world's strongest institutions are actually moving into physical gold now, quietly but decisively. So now's your moment to do the same. All you have to do is call that number there to get that info kit, get started on the whole process, 888-617-7994, or you can go to rsbnforthegold.com. You can take what you've built and make it real. Before the next headline reminds you that paper wealth is just that, paper. All right, if you'd like to donate to Right Side, all you have to do is text RSBN to 801-801 or go to rsbnetwork.com/donate. Thank you guys so much for watching this live stream broadcast. For all of us here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, I'm Matthew Alvarez. We'll see you again soon.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Tired of being told no by your doctor, your pharmacy, or worse, your insurance company? You're not alone. Millions of Americans are waking up to a broken healthcare system. That's why more and more people are turning to All Family Pharmacy. We believe in medical freedom. We deliver the prescription and the medication, all from licensed U.S. doctors and pharmacists, from ivermectin and trusted antibiotics to maintenance medications, even NAD+, the revolutionary anti-aging supplement. Use code RSBN10 at checkout for 10% off your first order.
Every once in a while, something big happens, something that changes everything. And now, in a defining moment for crypto, Trump Media Group and Crypto.com are joining forces to acquire up to $6.4 billion of CRO, launching America's first ever CRO treasury, empowering the Kronos blockchain. This is more than a partnership. It's the future of finance built in America. For more, visit Crypto.com, where millions trade CRO every day.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat live show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.